What is going on, everybody? I know that's my common intro, but this is a special episode because something very interesting has happened. You may have seen, some things with XMR getting merged, but that's not what I'm talking about. The thing that happened is I found a watermelon flavored 5-hour energy in my car that Chad Bereforth left in my car in Las Vegas. So this show is going to be a banger, boys. Let me tell you right now. Let's get this intro out of the way, you guys. For those who haven't heard, THORChain
You
is
gotta
the
mail it
world's...
to me. You gotta mail it to me. Send it in the mail. I demand it now.
THORChain is the world's leading Bitcoin DEX. You can swap 13 different blockchains across 41 different pools without using bridges or wrap tokens. Check it out at swap.thorchain.org. Swap.thorchain.org. Anyone in the world can use THORChain. There's no account to open, no KYC required, and privacy is a human right. THORChain has two tokens, Rune and TCY. The fees for swapping on THORChain are paid in Rune, and that's where the yield comes from. The fees are deducted from swap, so you don't need to own Rune to trade on THORChain. Pretty cool. The Rune token is deflationary as 5% of the revenue is burned. 10% of protocol revenue goes to TCY token holders. Remember, guys, to stake the TCY tokens in order to collect this yield. There are no block rewards on THORChain. The protocol's revenue is real money paid by real users. THORChain is more than just a DEX. It's a programmable layer 1 with the ability to create decentralized apps on it. This app layer is being developed by Rajira. Guys, if you need help with THORChain in general, join the THORChain community Discord and Telegram group. Links to those are on THORChain.org. THORChain.org. Guys, also, please follow THORChain on Facebook and Instagram. THORChain Contact, all one word, on TikTok. We need 1,000 followers to live stream on those platforms. Let's get it done. And always remember, guys, this podcast for informational and educational purpose only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice, and the THORChain community does not endorse or condone illicit activity of any kind. With that out of the way, you guys, the show is starting. What's going on, everybody? My name's Denny. I've been doing THORChain stuff for 5 years now. I love it. I'm going to kick it to my main man, Kenton. He's got an update for us. How you doing, Kenton?
Hi, good. Thanks, man. Not 5-hour energy plus 4 cups of coffee. Good, but I'm
You
doing
made a
good.
mistake, Chad. You should have never done this. You have to take this home with you. All right?
But I actually do have several things to go over. And let me just pull up my list. I actually sat down and thought about it before coming on the podcast. So let me just go to my notes. So website, guys, I'm sorry. It just keeps getting dragged out. I keep going back and forth with the designer over the graphics images. And I don't like what they have. I tell them to redo it, basically. And so we keep going back and forth. And then every time I'm in the site, I find something new. I tweak it. I've had some other people go through it, give me some feedback. So we're close. It's just basically just kind of getting the images done. The Apple podcast. So I don't know if anyone's been listening to this on Apple, but it got cut off in January. And this is before Cal even left. So we've been trying to sort it out. I finally got Cal to transfer ownership from him to me. And so I need to go check on that. But we'll try and get these podcasts going on Apple Podcasts again. So right now they're just going to Spotify. So it's a work in progress. You guys maybe have seen some posts from the Twitter account promoting the Samurai Wallet devs and, helping them raise awareness to raise money. So in Vegas at the Bitcoin conference, I met Keone Rodriguez's wife. We're just standing and just chatting with her, and kind of asking her a whole bunch of questions about it, whatnot, and it just kind of inspired me. I'm like, we got to do what we can, and to try and help them raise some money, because basically the government's just kind of bankrupted them. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what their personal situation is, but maybe bankrupt's the wrong word. But like, they owe like a few $1 million between fines and legal fees, and they have to pay out of their pocket. So, and these guys stand for real, everything the THORChain community stands for, and crypto in general, right? And so I want to do what I can, what THORChain can to help them raise awareness, to help them raise money. And so I've been trying to figure out on the THORChain Twitter account how to get the ads going, because we get like $400 a month in ad credit because we've got the gold check mark. So we have $400 of free spend, but we can't promote the swap interface because it's an exchange. It violates one of Twitter's policies, right? So, I mean, we could come up with some other things, but I would love to spend that on promoting a post to help get their fundraise out there, and try and do what we can to help them. So in theory, that $400 a month would be like help donating to them, right? Helping them. Um, and it'd be pretty awesome if our community can actually make a difference for them, be involved. You know, whether we help raise 100 grand or a million or whatever, it's something, right? And it's self-serving in a way because it's good marketing for us, right? It's good for us to say that we helped. And so I just kind of just putting this out to the community, whether you got $10, $100, maybe you got 1,000, every little bit will count. And, if we can help show that we're the ones, kind of getting the ball rolling, helping them, contribute a bunch, I think that'd be huge. Um, but at minimum, I want to do what we can to help them promote, help them get the message out there. So kind of like Free Ross, right? That whole
Yeah.
movement, if we can do like a free samurai and, help get that going.
Yeah, that's both. By the way, that's for Keone, and I think Bill is also
Bill, that's right, for them both. Yeah. So Keone, I think he's more the face. He maybe gets more attention, but Bill is his partner. I forget his last name.
Yeah.
And so I'm work. I asked his wife to like combine both of your guys, like both the fines, both the legal fees into one, right? Like one raise. So the 2.5 million might just be for on Keone's side. I don't know if Bill's is in addition to that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So I asked her to clarify that. Um, so we have the proper total number to work with and the proper target. Once we get that sorted out and I get these ads kind of sorted out and I kind of have kind of a game plan, then we'll have her on the podcast and to tell, her their side of the story and give us the inside scoop on kind of how everything went down. Cause my understanding is just this is a witch hunt. Like
Yep.
what the DOJ said they were doing, FinCEN actually said, no, that is not what they're doing. We disagree. But the DOJ prosecuted them anyway
Yeah, which is
and were
crazy, by the way.
convicted them anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And apparently the prosecution even, my
They knew about
understanding,
it.
they knew about it, but the defense
Yeah.
didn't. The defense found out after the fact that the
Right.
prosecution knew about it.
Yeah,
And it's
I think they had to ask specifically for that. Like, I think there's some law in the books that the DOJ is forced to reveal information they have that is even helpful for the other person's case, for in this case, Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. And they only did that once they specifically asked the question, do you have the FinCENs, blah, 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 which is like kludgy and fucking sketchball is all fuck.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And and then they're trying to get a pardon. Maybe some reporter actually asked Trump during a press conference. And but I don't think it went any further from there. And my cynical view of things is like I think their sentence is 5 years. So they might just say, screw it, he can serve his sentence, right? Like with Ross, it was lifetime. So he does have to get pardoned to get out. So, but I don't know. They do have a petition going to sign for the pardon. I mean, even if they do serve their full time, they're still gonna have a criminal record. So it's still worth getting a pardon to try and expunge that. So it doesn't hurt to try, right? So, so
by the way,
anyway,
the irony here is that at the beginning of the Bitcoin conference, Todd Blanche, who's the U.S. Attorney General, was just talking about how he making a very clear and very specific on purpose statement at the Bitcoin conference that, the DOJ is not interested in going after coders. He made this big giant spiel about how we're not going to prosecute people who just write code, blah, blah, blah. And then the DOJ just I think back in December is when when he was convicted. Rugby was convicted just a few months prior. Did what it did. And so to me, I see a strong, you know, separation of these two events that should not be that
Yes.
separated. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
fascinating that yeah,
Well, and politics is all about publicity and public attention, right? So if we can contribute to making this a mainstream narrative and topic of conversation in the crypto community, that should increase the probability of them getting the pardon.
yeah,
Because they're not going to pardon nobody that nobody cares about, right?
yep,
So, you know, so anyway, so I feel pretty strongly about this. I really want to do what I can to help, help from the THORChain community, help them. So, and I suspect you guys all agree. So,
yeah,
um, so
100%.
so yeah, so one of these days we'll get Keone's wife on the podcast. Hopefully
yeah,
soon. Hopefully the next like week or 2 or 3 or something.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. When we ran into her at the Bitcoin conference, they were shooting I think they were shooting like a documentary, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think they're coming out at some point with a documentary about, Keone and Bill and like the whole samurai story and to kind of shine some light on the ridiculousness of the situation and the lack of justification for, its outcomes.
yeah.
Um, but I also say that I was talking to Naomi Brockwell when you were talking to Keone's wife. Naomi Brockwell, if you don't know, she's a YouTuber, been around for a very long time, huge crypto person, huge privacy person, very well informed, very well educated. She did a episode of her podcast or her YouTube channel, talking all about this case specifically and diving into some good detail. I will send a link to that to Kenton to kind of like maybe we can repost it on the THORChain Twitter account just to kind of like get some eyes. But it's a good kind of I asked her to send it to me and she was nice enough to do so. And I watched it. It was a really good, 20-minute, 30-minute video kind of going into the depths of this case and what happened. And, she interviewed Keone directly as part of that process. And he's talking about him talking about his story and how he got to where he got, and with the events that took place and all these things. So I definitely recommend Naomi's channel is a great YouTube channel in general. So you should subscribe if you're not already, but we'll get that video out to people to watch so they can get the full kind of background and context to Keanu's story.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. Um, okay, so that's that. So that'll be an ongoing topic for us. Oh, probably actually over a couple of years, probably. We'll keep
Yeah.
coming back to it. Um, um, I made
So
some
is what
progress with Token Terminal. I got a good quote from them, and I'm hoping Chad, you and the Treasury will help me pay for it. So I talked to Alex actually earlier today. He says you guys are meeting next week, so if you guys can chat about it, that'd be great. I'd love to get THORChain on Token Terminal. The more I went over it with them and what they're plugged into, I think that'll have better reach than Masari.
Mhm.
Um, well, I know it will. Um, but it's not an either or as far as I'm concerned. My goal is to get THORChain on all of these platforms because just because one platform might be better than the rest, it doesn't mean they have all the users. These other platforms still exist. People still use them, right? So
Yeah.
we want to tap into all these audiences. Um, and I had a long conversation with them about how they present the data. And I actually really like it. I think it's great and it's the right way to do it. Um, because it's consistent. So their whole Token Terminal's whole shtick, their whole value add to their user base is that they normalize all the terms. So if you look up a protocol and it has like fees and revenue and whatnot, it's calculated the same for all of the blockchains. And it's doing its best to try to create an apples to apples comparison between all these different chains. Which is great, which is what an analyst wants to see, right? And that's their so they can start comparing them, whatever metrics they're interested in, and then they can dig a bit deeper into the metrics, see where they're coming from on that individual chain. So I think it's great. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of our good friends Near Intense. Everyone's we're always comparing ourselves to them. And so we're going to be compared to them, obviously on Token Terminal and Masari and all these platforms. So I'm cognizant of how our data looks relative to Near. And the way Near's data shows is on their fees, it includes the affiliate fees. And so it gives this picture of like, well, they have all this, they're making all this more money, but it doesn't actually go to the Near protocol. It goes to the affiliates. It goes to a third party. According to the way Token Terminal measures everything and reports, this is proper. They're trying, but by the fees on the protocol, they're trying to show the entire economic activity on that protocol. And then they break it down further from there on where those fees actually go. And so, so the term revenue on Token Terminal is actually refers to funds that go directly to token holders. So, for example, Bitcoin has zero revenue on Token Terminal because Bitcoin holders don't collect any of those transaction fees. The transaction fees go all to the miners. And again, I forget
Almost
what
every protocol in the world
it's
does it.
just, well,
You know
something
what I
like
mean?
that,
Like,
right?
like I
Yeah.
don't know. It makes no sense to me that they would.
Well, but this is how they've structured it, right? For all few hundred protocols they have.
Yeah.
So Near Intense revenue shows as nil, is very little. And based on how THORChain is structured, our revenue will actually be little as well. The only thing that will show as revenue will be the 5% burn, because that is actually goes to all token holders. All token holders benefit from the burn. So that is what will actually show up as our revenue. The other 95% will be classified a bit differently because it goes to like third parties, like the nodes, TCY, the dev fund, marketing fund, whatever. So the good news in this is that THORChain's fees will see a boost. Instead of us trying to be honest and only reporting the fees that go to THORChain, which I think the total are like 120, 130 million right now, the extra 40 some million in affiliate fees will be added on top of that. So THORChain's total fees will actually increase because we'll be adding the affiliate fees in them as well. And so I'm letting everyone know we're not going to, I got nowhere for them to change Nears and bring them down, but they will make sure ours go up and ours are higher. So I think it's fair. It's a fair compromise. I mean, I can't expect them to change their entire architecture just for one client, one customer, right? And what matters, as long as it's consistent, then as long as it's consistent, then it's fair. And um, and so that being said, and this is how Masari does it too. Everyone talks about fees instead of revenue. And so this is one of the things like on the website and whatever I've been going through, like I think we have to stop referring to THORChain's like revenue as revenue and start calling it fees, because that's what the industry refers to it as.
Hmm.
So I want to try and normalize the terms and the terminology that we're using it consistently everywhere. So like on the website, for example, we're calling it fees, not revenue. And I'm going to actually have to ask Rake about this on the analytics sites as well. So yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny that like this kind of works out well for Near specifically because they only charge right now for all trades and all swaps. They charge 0.1 bips, right, on each trade. So like for every $1 million of volume that passes through Near, the protocol itself earns like $10, right? So like it's like they earn like $600 a day or $500 a day or 400, depending what the volume is, whatever, which is, nuts. That's fuck all zero, right? And so it looks better for them that we have, whatever the other value is with the affiliates and all that kind of stuff. But then as somebody who's interested in architecture and design and token economics and all this kind of stuff, it's like, um, how do near holders, right? Like, why would I own the near token, right? If all this swap volume is happening, and the only people who are profiting from it are the solvers, have nothing to do with the near token itself or the validation of the blockchain, or don't provide a value to the actual protocol itself, other than solving other people's intents or whatever. And I know like Near's different because they have like they do AI in the blockchain, and there's like other claims, other things that they're focusing on, and I don't really spend much of my time really thinking about too much. But just from a like we as a protocolist in THORChain, we charge fees, and we collect those fees, and it rewards people for validating the chain or providing liquidity or like whatever it is, because I call that token economics, right? Like it's like silly old me, like liking the idea of like solid token economics. And what I'm seeing here for Near is like, we're not going to charge anything, and we get the protocol benefits is jack fuck zero from swap volume, from what I can tell. Maybe there's something I'm missing, and somebody from the Near community could correct me, and I pre-apologize if I got something wrong, whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know how this makes sense. Like I must be missing something here, because none of this makes any sense to me.
Well, I like to think people with half a brain will reach to your same conclusion, right? They just look into it a little bit more and then realize, okay, nothing's adding up here. So that should be the benefit of these platforms like Token Terminal and Masaris, that if somebody actually goes
Dives in.
past just a superficial look and they go just a little bit further, they're actually able to see it. So
Like
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's just like, to me, like whatever volume that they're swapping, whatever millions per day or month or whatever the hell it is, at this point, I would as an outsider, if I was like just an objective third party, I'd be like, this is just glory stats, right? Like it has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't actually reinvest in some way back into the protocol or the token holders or like something like this nature. It's just like glory stats, which has no value to it I'm a first principles kind of guy. I like value proposition, fundamentals kind of person. So like to me, it all goes back to that side. And I'm just like,
well, I think this explains why Token Terminal has set up their definitions and their calculations this way, because all these protocols are the same. A lot of them have, oh, we lost Denny.
yep,
A lot of them have crappy tokenomics. A lot of them don't actually make any money. So they've had to like come up with these terms or ways of calculating and showing things to try and insinuate or try and help justify their value. And so that's why like this fees definition, the way they calculate it, because they need to come up with some way to show that pretend they have value. Whereas if you actually
yeah,
showed the real number, it's nothing. There's nothing there.
yeah.
So it's just
Yeah, it wouldn't reflect well, right?
yeah,
For obvious reasons, right?
yeah,
And I think this is like kind of a problem in DeFi in general, is that a lot of the tokens in DeFi are really kind of just meme coins. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like they have
yeah,
no interaction with the protocol or whatever. They're just meme tokens that you buy, and I don't want to like name specific ones and like throw anybody a particular protocol underneath the bus or whatever, but like you can probably think about it yourself and figure it out quite quickly that like, oh, there's a token and the token does jack zero, and you buy it because you're a cult person and you just want to buy it because you're just like in the cult of this DeFi protocol, whatever protocol we're talking about. And hope the price goes up for meme purposes, right? Which is really just like to me, meme coins are just like an investment into pop culture, right? I hope that the pop culture changes in 6 months or whatever, and it becomes more valuable because more people, it becomes a stronger part of popular culture within crypto or whatever. Like, I don't know. Call me silly, but I don't know. I wish more protocols would think more deeply about their token economics rather than just like slapping a coin on top of something else without any forethought.
yeah.
Right? Not to say that like Near is that. Like I don't want to trash on Near or anything like that. So don't interpret it in that kind of way. But like a lot of protocols are just like DeFi coins are just flipping meme tokens
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah. And yeah. So, well, if anything, if my thesis is correct, where the next wave of money coming into crypto is from generalist investors who will be demanding more like transparency like that. Like
Mhm.
where is the actual value? Where is this money going? How does this thing make money? And this is the whole point of platforms like Token Terminal. They're selling to those investors, right, to subscribe, and not just retail, but institutional as well. And so this is why I'm hot on moving forward Token Terminal, because they're plugged into Bloomberg. If you, if people don't know, for the millennials out there, the boomers who are in finance, they use what's called a Bloomberg terminal, where it has like it's a giant database of stock information and bonds and whatever kind of security you can think of. Everyone on Wall Street uses it. Everyone in the world. Um, and there's another one. It's called Thomson Reuters. There might be another couple or something like that, but Bloomberg is the main one. And so, if you're a $1 billion fund in New York, you've got all your analysts have a Bloomberg terminal that they go look stuff up, and they can pull
Yeah,
up.
it's super expensive, by the way, too. It's like,
Yeah, it's a few grand a month just for
yeah,
one terminal for one
for
user.
one person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a massive database. It's huge. Everything's on there. Um, Jenny, I know what
Even
you're
Rune,
laughing
like
at, Jenny.
Rune's on there
Uh,
too.
yeah,
You
I
know?
just
is
I
it?
keep thinking Boomerberg. That's all I'm thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, so apparently Token Terminal is there for Bloomberg is their source of data for crypto. And so if we get on Token Terminal, then we get THORChain's data into Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And this is
Which is
part of
big.
the distribution. And so if there's some normie hedge fund manager in New York, well, I'm going to look at these cryptos, what's going on? THORChain will start showing up in the search results. The other cool thing is the Token Terminal is connected to CoinGecko. So if a token on Token Terminal is on CoinGecko, there's a financials tab, and it shows like extra data from Token Terminal will show up on CoinGecko. And then they told me they're also working on Anthropic to be their data source for crypto when people use Claude. So yeah, I'm pretty keen on getting THORChain into Token Terminal. I think it'll be good for us, and we'll rank high there too. And so by their metric with fees, THORChain will be in the top 10. We'll be up there. So yeah, be good. Maybe it's a good segue into the circulating supply. We burned 64 and some million rune from the reserve. That's gone through. That's done now. So the total supply, Chad, I don't know what happened. Something weird happened with the numbers. The total supply is now 360.14 million or something. And we're supposed to be just shy, just under 360. So it's like 200,000 rune or something somehow didn't get burned. I don't know what happened. But I'm not too fussed about it. The burn mechanism will take care of it. We'll get it lower than 360. I mean, but there's 360.2, 359.8. It's all the same, right? It's just optics. And so we chatted about this last time, Chad, about just saying the max supply is equal to the total supply. You're right. I agree. And so I'm going to try and get these platforms to start showing THORChain's max supply equals the total supply. And hopefully they can tie into our API to auto update the number because it's deflationary, right? It's not static, right? So I don't know. We'll see, because I think the max supply is often a static number on these platforms. So we'll see. CoinGecko already updated the numbers for us. I'll have to check it in a few days or a week or something to see if it is connected to our API or not. I might have to I know with CoinMarketCap, they're taking a bit of time I have to come up with unique API endpoints from them. So I have Liquify working on that for me. For now, I just gave them static numbers to at least just like at least it just gets it down, so it's looking better. Um, so and the more I've been thinking about how to like communicate this is uh, we have to stop saying the circulating supply is deflationary. That is actually not technically true when you think about it. It's the total supply is deflationary because we still have that 9 million in reserve. If that ever comes out of the reserve, the circulating supply would increase, right? So that rune coming out of the reserve would actually be inflationary to the circulating supply. So it's
Yeah, but
more,
in order for that to happen, the only way I can think of is through just like an ADR of some kind.
well, exactly. But it's as long as, so I understand what the people wanted to burn the reserve in the first place. As long as it's sitting there, people think it can be emitted, right? That
Mhm.
it could come out. So I'm just trying to think, just to be intellectually honest, as long as we have that 9 million sitting there in a reserve, in theory, that can still become circulating at some point. So we should probably say the total supply is deflationary instead of the circulating. I think that'd be it's more accurate. Um, and uh, yeah, yeah. So I'm going to try and get those numbers updated everywhere. It just takes time, guys. You know, they need proof. One, those platforms need proof, so I have to make sure I get all the links and show them all kind of stuff. And sometimes I have a question and I got to answer it, or it just takes them 2 weeks. I have no control. So, um, yeah, if you notice it in a lot of places, if I do CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, it should get everybody because a lot of all these other websites just pull from CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So once I get those done, it should auto populate everywhere else. But if anybody sees the numbers wrong somewhere, let me know and I'll do what I can to fix them. Um, before we, I noticed Boone just joined, but before we get to that, maybe I'll stop there. See if Boone, welcome. Was there something you wanted to talk about or bring up or say or comment on?
Not about what you guys have spoke thus far, so I'm happy to go back to the background if you want to continue this thread. I just want to talk about reallocating the treasury liquidity at some point.
Okay. Can we put it on the back burner? There's one
Yep,
other
yep.
topic I wanted to bring up, and actually, I'm glad you're here because it's some more input. So I'm curious what you guys think, what the community thinks. I've kind of made up my mind already. I think we're going to do what I want to do, but just would be nice to get some confirmation from you guys or tell me if I'm wrong. But we had a user the other day place a swap and it had like a 25% price impact. And so, yet he had 1% slippage tolerance set. And he went and executed it and he lost 20 some percent of his trade. He's like, what the hell's going on? I lost my money. I have my slippage set at 1%. You know, it should have canceled. And like, they're actually two different things. Like the slippage, the price impact is always there. And the slippage is how much after the price impact you're willing to accept. So if your price impact is minus 20% and your slippage is 1%, you're actually willing to accept a 21% change from your trade. And so I'm thinking, how do we explain this? How do we, disclose this? How do we make it more clear so people understand? And I'm thinking we don't. We just combine them into one thing. And so if somebody has a 1% slippage tolerance, we actually combine that with the price impact. So um, if the price impact on the trade is actually, let's say 0.2%, then that leaves 0.8% room left over for actual slippage. But the person's total trade can only be less than 1% of what they start with. Um, Like, you guys look confused. Did you follow me on that? Did that make any sense? Did I?
Well,
Uh,
the price protection is not a percentage; it's a specific number. So it usually, when you produce the memo, at least maybe it's a UI related issue, but on the memo side, it's just you put in how much of the destination or target asset that you want to receive on the other side, like a minimum of this quantity of ether. Like if you go into Bitcoin to ether, I want to make sure I get 1.2345 ether on the other side, and it will cancel versus execute depending upon what the trade would execute to be that number or greater, rather than like 1%. Like 1% could be anything if your price indicator, if your source of your price is inaccurate, right?
yeah. So the STO will show you the minimum output. This is your minimum expected return, and that would be the value then that goes in your memo, right? So and that minimum amount is the price impact plus the slippage. So what I'm suggesting for the slippage setting is to add price impact into that amount as well, and not have them separate. So, because I think a lot of people just assume that's how it already works anyway, and most often the price impact is like less than 1%, so they don't really notice it or acknowledge it, and lots of times the slippage isn't 1% either, so they don't really notice it. Um, it's always always the extreme edge cases where you notice it, right? And so even though we disclosed to the user, everything was disclosed properly. It was all like, we had the minus 20%. It's in red. We had the minimum amount. He's just clicking through and running through it, right? It was not stopping to read or think. So,
Didn't this trade
technically,
happen on Maya and not on
yeah, I went through on
THORChain?
Maya. While Ethereum trading was down on THORChain, so it routed through Maya. And
Yeah.
then for some reason, I don't know, it didn't go through as a streaming swap either, or something. I can't remember what else, why it contributed to large price impact. But like technically, the site worked as intended, and the disclosures worked as intended. Um, it's just kind of bad UI. I think, right? It's just like I think we can do better. And I don't think anybody wants to accept the price impact of minus 20%. Everybody would just rather say no. So, and this is the thing. You're kind of talking about being a purist, Chad, and doing things properly and technically correct. Like technically correct, slippage is different from price impact. We'll have the price impact from our trade, and then when we enter that trade, there's a room for slippage if the prices change on us. So I
That in
think we
this
just
case,
combine
so
them
like if
into
if
one value that,
you, well,
yeah,
I would say two things. One is if streaming swaps was enabled on this trade, which it should be on by default on all trades. In fact, Maya should all swaps should be streaming swaps by default, even like on the protocol level, which I think is how it works on ours now. If that was the case, then would not have been anywhere close to the numbers that we're talking about. Just even if it doesn't matter how you present it in the UI, it would have had a much better execution in any case. The other thing I would say though is that there is like this kind of custom concentrated liquidity thing that the app layer is going to be starting up pretty soon. I think like probably next week or maybe the week after, which should, in theory, get I know this doesn't matter because this is on Maya, not on THORChain, but that should really do a much better job keeping the pool price very close to the market price, on our own protocol, so that price impact has a lesser of the slippage has a less
yeah,
of effect,
yeah.
or significantly less, hopefully. We'll see. Maybe this concentrated liquidity thing that they're doing on that player is not going to work out so well. It probably going to work out great. I assume it's going to work out great, but who knows? But like, that's another kind of thing that kind of reduces the need for this kind of conversation just because of the protocol change that would make it safer.
I
quote
agree.
unquote.
I get it. It should become a moot point. As we grow and get bigger, it becomes less and less of an issue.
Yeah.
But there's still always that edge case, and
Yeah. Do you know how
and
big
it
the trade was? Like, what was the size of the trade?
like 12 or 15 grand or something.
Yeah,
Um,
12, 15 grand in an Ethereum pool on Maya. I don't know how deep the Maya's pool. I don't think it's that deep, and it's not streaming.
yeah.
Recipe for
So
disaster.
so anyway, yeah. Ibik and I talked about this morning, and yeah, I feel pretty strongly about moving this way. I thought I'd just bring it up to you guys if you had any feedback or, but because in my mind, the way I'm looking at this, we want to make STO accessible and usable for millions of people. And that means there's going to be thousands of retards using it. So, we got to do what we can to make it retard proof. And even explaining the difference between slippage and price impact, I admit I had to stop and think about it. I know one of the mods told me the same. Even Ibex, he said him and his team every 6 months they have to stop and remember it because they run into issues on their end. So you know, we're all s- we're all supposed to be sophisticated users, and we still have to stop to think. So can only imagine for the casual user, right? It'd be lost on them.
Yeah,
So I got to I got to think about this and how to combine it, make it easier, more user friendly.
I
Um,
I had an old coworker long time, many years ago, who had a saying, and it was stuck with me. And he said that if you try to make something idiot proof, the universe will just create a bigger idiot.
that's so
And I
true.
like, I kind of
Yeah.
like, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true.
Well,
Like,
like we're still like memoless, for example, we're still running into some issues there. And we have all these warnings that you have to checkbox through, and people still checkbox them. And they just
yeah,
they want to do it now and get through. And we're like, well, did you read the warning? Well,
yeah, yeah,
no, I was in a rush. Or, well, no. Oh, I thought it was fine. I'm like, well, this is why they're there, right?
yeah,
For
yeah,
the idiots. And it sucks because some of these people, we just have to say, well, stupid is as stupid does. Like, we can't help you. Like, you
yeah, yeah,
literally accepted this. Like, we told you don't do it, and you still did it. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, you're right. You're right. Cause like there's only so much we can do, right? Like,
In the end, like people are, to your point, they either, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm not even saying that like I'm Mr. Intelligent smart guy, whatever. But like, we get, bored or we're in a rush or being absent-minded or, like I think we're all guilty of this, including
yeah,
myself, of like, just clicking the accept button, not really double checking like you probably should. And,
yeah,
just we get, I don't know,
yeah,
lackadaisical might be the phrase. Not sure what the right word is there, but
yeah.
complacent.
too comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too
Well, I
comfortable.
think that's what happened with this guy too. He'd placed a bunch of trades. He was just doing them in succession or
Right.
something. And he was just kind of looping them. And on this last one of five or something like that is when it burned him or something. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, guys, please, there's a reason that confirmation screen is there to give you all the info and the numbers and the data to make sure the trade is what you intend to do. And so please still check it,
yeah,
especially if you're doing a large dollar amount. Like just
yeah. If it's a lot of money to you, you should
yeah,
be double checking or doing
yeah,
like small transactions first. Like I do that a lot when I'm
yeah,
in crypto land. I just do like, oh, if I want to make a large transaction, or something like this, I usually do a small one first that is meaningless in terms of its value,
yeah.
and then make sure it all works and everything looks good and like whatever, and then do the big one.
That's what I was thinking about for Memoless is that I'm starting to think we should just have a warning or checkbox that, hey, did you try a test transaction first? Did you try a nominal amount first before your full amount? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
Memoless seems to be our biggest uh, pain point of people screwing it up. And it's like I think they're just using all kinds of different wallets and setups that we just can't foresee. And I don't know. This one guy apparently did his whole life savings in one Memoless trade, and he didn't do it test transaction. It's like, yeah, this is one of your idiots, Chad. Like, so I grew up in crypto. Like, you always do a test transaction first. Like, I don't know how these other guys learned. For me, maybe I take it for granted, but maybe it's something do need to warn people on memo lists is to try a test first. We're trying also to be cognizant too of not killing. You have all these warnings and checkboxes that
Yeah.
kills the experience as well, right? So we're trying to think about what's appropriate, what's necessary, and how much do we babysit these people?
Some people are destined to drown in a puddle, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a sad part of life. You can do everything you can, I like your test transaction. Have you done? I don't know if it detects a new address. Maybe you could have a warning. Maybe that's too technically complex. I don't know, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
know
we
what
have
else
to
you could do.
actually monitor an address to know if they did a test, but just have a box, a text box.
Yeah,
I did a test transaction first, and I know this works
yeah.
or something,
One
right?
more click.
Yeah, one more click, right? And then because maybe they're using different wallets, different addresses, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, just so you guys know what I've been working on. And yeah, thanks everyone for your feedback. There's a new report bug link on STO, so if you guys see any problems, please submit it there. And yeah, we're just kind of ironing out bugs right now on the site before adding any more features. And that's it for me. Maybe I don't know, Chad, if you want to bring up something, or if we pass it to Boone, let him.
Boone came up, so let's
Okay.
let him go first.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up live this idea of reallocating the treasury liquidity in the pools. I don't know if you had a chance to read my fully written out proposal or not, Chad.
I haven't yet. I think I mentioned in the chat there that like at a high level, I'm probably for what you're proposing. Although I haven't read the details of them, but I'm confident that you've thought it through well and have made probably a really good suggestion. To my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that this is from a module address, like it's a module address that owns these funds, right? Like not
No, well, it's
the wallet
two.
address, correct?
No, well, it's two. It's. Oh, sorry. There's a bad
There's
echo.
echo.
Oh, sorry. There's a bad echo. Can you guys
Go ahead,
hear me
Boone.
still?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's two-part. Yeah, it is a treasury module, so that would require an ADR and the nodes to do that. But then there's also liquidity in the pools held by various live treasury addresses, such as like the multi-sig addresses.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would require coordination between the treasury signers and the nodes agreeing to the ADR.
Yeah, I think most likely the wallet controlled stuff probably has to be withdrawn anyway because the treasury addresses were being churned. You know what I mean? To new old addresses and then move them to new addresses. So we probably should withdraw all the treasury funds anyway, and then move the funds to the new addresses, and then re put everything back in again. And maybe when the treasury puts things back in again, um, they can do reallocations of different pools and whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then we can also redesignate. I know you already started to do this, but which stablecoin pools feed into Tor? Like there's kind of like there's like the easy version of my proposal, which is just keeping the assets the same. And then there's like the slightly more adventurous version of my proposal that suggests seeding the highest volume coins that we can support easily, like without code changes, in the top 100 market cap coins. So that would be like an additional, I forget off the top of my head, but like maybe an additional 25 pools. So that's like an option. We could go either way.
Yep.
But the idea is, again, just trying to make THORChain a one-stop shop, and then you don't need an aggregator if we natively support every asset that, or 99% of the assets that people want to go in and out of. And so even dumb things like Pepe, like a meme coin, I think there's an argument to be made that it makes sense for there to be a THORChain pool for it. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the system income POL going live in 318 still?
Yes, it's in 318. I think 318 will probably be cut probably today. I think it's going to be cut today, and then I think it's being tested on StageNet for a few days, whatever. So I'm hoping that we'll be live with 318 like by the end of the week, next week, within a week or so. And the POL is in the system income for the POL is in that, and then it just requires nodes to vote on, is it 0%, is it 5%, is it 20%, is it 30%, whatever. That would just then start at that point.
Right. Awesome. So
Yep.
yeah, then if we reallocate this liquidity where it's most valuable, most profitable for the network, and then potentially see these other pools, then the system income POL, if the nodes decide to turn it on to some degree, over time that should just naturally balance the pools for maximum usage and profit.
Yeah. Yeah. One other comment though to think about this, and I'm sure you already considered it, but when the treasury withdraws liquidity from the pool, either from the wallet or from the module, it probably can only be from pools that are not locked, right? Or LPing.
Yep, already accounted for that. It's all
Okay.
written up there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I forget the exact logic I use, but the treasury would not deposit into any pool with cents, and it would not withdraw from any pool if the cents were greater than 5%, is I think the logic I used. And there's a little bit of
Okay.
other stuff as well.
Yep.
If I could just add to that, Boone, you mentioned like Pepe, like we shouldn't be. I'm not attacking you, Boone, when I say this, but in general, like we shouldn't be looking passing comments on whether a token is a shit coin or good coin or whatever. We're an exchange. We're agnostic, right? We love all our tokens equally. If you got volume, we want to have you. So like our criteria
Yeah,
shouldn't be what do we
I
think
agree.
about the use case of this coin? Is it the top 100 by volume, top 100 by market cap? Let's get it, right?
Well, I agree with
Um,
you, Kenton, from a protocol standpoint, but at the same time, I am asking the treasury to take an active position in Pepe, right? And so that's not quite the same thing as THORChain being coin agnostic. That's should the
okay.
protocol or should the treasury invest in a meme coin is all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, okay. Fair comment. Well, isn't this liquidity technically it's locked in the protocol? Isn't it like POL already? Like even though it might technically, if we need the
Yeah. I
node to
mean,
approve it,
I
approve
don't have
moving
the
it, it's like
numbers
POL then at this point.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's I would guess close to half and half, half in this treasury module, which, yeah, you could very easily argue is owned by the protocol. And then the other half is actively held by live treasury wallets. And so, yeah, you can say,
Okay.
it's all fungible at the end of the day. So as long as they're coordinating, then yeah, the protocol could take on the dumb coin. Well, yeah, I'm not judging either, but you know what I'm saying. Just play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
The protocol could
Yeah.
take on the silly coins.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
this was the intention of the idea of adding intents to THORChain, was to satisfy the long tail asset, which maybe Pepe is an example of that, and so the treasury wouldn't have to take a position or invest $100,000 in
I mean,
some meme
Pepe's
token.
not a long tail asset though. It's
Exactly.
a top 30 market cap. It's it's very high volume too. It's not a long tail asset.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's right in the sense that it's top 30 or whatever, but I'm not sure what kind of volume that token specifics. But anyway, my point is that the intention behind the intents feature was to be able to support an arbitrary, amount of ERC20s or whatever, secondary assets that aren't the gas asset, in a way that it wouldn't require the treasury to invest, $100,000 in per random ERC20 token, insert token here. But at the same time, I've noticed in the conversations that I've had with various wallets that it's not really a blocker for them in the conversations, at least the ones that I've had so far. It's not really a blocker for them to adding THORChain as a provider, because we don't support Pepe, we don't support this route or this token or this asset, because a lot of these wallets they very rarely only integrate with one swap provider, and they actually integrate with lots of swap providers. Like one of them I'm aware of, they said they integrate with 85 different swap providers, which is like kind of crazy number if you think about it. And so I'm not confident that adding more tokens. I was before, if you can probably find some video of me saying something the opposite like a few months ago. But after having the conversation I've been having with wallets, I'm not confident that adding more tokens, whether it be Pepe or something else, would meaningfully kind of move the needle in terms of our ability to get adopted or integrated with a wallet or whatever. Because I think what they care, they don't really care so much about what coins or routes you support, unless that's unique, right? Unless we are supporting Monero, for example, right? That would be a little bit of a different case, because we're the only ones that support Monero, so they would be interested in that one. But for the most part, I'm not sure if that would actually push the needle and get us more integrated. I think we're still going through the process, and I'm still going through the process of really understanding what are the actual blockers for us getting integrated to wallet A, wallet B, or wallet C. And thus far, it's been well, we have a lot of, we have a backlog of 35 integrations that we're looking to do. And so we would put you as number 36 or something like this, or we're already integrated with you through SwapKit. So why would we spend much, time and energy to integrate with you directly when we already have your routes and your pricing and all these things through SwapKit or whatever? And it's a series of other kind of problems that aren't relating to how many routes we support. I thought that was the problem, 6 months ago or whatever the time frame was. I'm still gonna have more and more conversations and get more and more educated on what the actual blockers are for these individual things. And obviously, when a wallet says we don't integrate with you because of this reason, my instant reaction is, okay, I will be happy to address that problem and make some sort of code change that would remove that from your list of worries or whatever, and I'm going through that process now with some wallets, you know what I mean? And I don't want to name specific wallets, of course, for some reasons, but we're doing that. But I'm not sure if adding Pepe, would be worth $100,000 from the treasury's perspective or not, to lock up that much capital for undisclosed quantity of time, rather than using that capital for something else, right? Like
Well,
token terminal or something.
to Bones' point of view, though, the whole point of what he's saying is the capital is dead. It's sitting in pools doing nothing right now.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it'd be basically better than anything else. And actually using Pepe as an example, it's a top 100 market cap and top 100 volume. So just the arbitrage volume alone will drive more yield to the network than sitting in a dead pool right now. So yeah, it's not something, this can be done in parallel to everything being done with wallets, right? We just have capital, it's just dead, just sitting there, not doing anything. Let's try and do something with it. Let's try and put it in a pool that a token that actually has volume, and see how it goes. Because maybe it doesn't help us get wallet integrations, but maybe it helps us get more users on STO.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe that community, we can go to Pepe. Hey guys, we got you on THORChain. Let's do a podcast, and we introduce that audience to THORChain, and now maybe they come start using STO. So there's other ways to derive value out of adding these pools to THORChain than just the wallet integrations.
Yep.
And there's another, I mean, this is much more long game, but one of the reasons why I thought the system income POL was just such like a good idea is as it builds up, then the treasury can remove the LP capital that the POL replaces. And
Yeah.
so like over time you can get all of your treasury out of there, you know? And so like I, I mean, especially, I mean, if you read my proposal, there's a lot of money just sitting there in pools doing nothing, like just completely, like Kenton is pointing out, just like completely being wasted. And so that was my main. It was like it's like doubles. All right, let's put this dead capital to use, and then also let's earn more, like just offer better swap quality to people, and also earn the protocol more money.
Yep. No, I think that would be an easy sell to the treasury, I would suspect, especially like just having dead capital doing nothing.
Denny, what happened to this guy, this RGSP guy? Did he?
I don't know. I just dropped off. I was just waiting. I was going to add him in a little bit, but maybe I should add him right away, but not sure.
If
If you're listening, you join right back.
Yeah, join back. But
By the
we have a problem
way,
adding you.
Boone, while you're up here, I don't know if you, I think you probably already saw by now, but the your Monero PR did merge a little while ago.
I did see that. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to see it on ChainNet.
Yeah, that's the next step. We'll get the ChainNet folk to launch it, which should be pretty quick. They're pretty responsive on that kind of stuff. And we'll start testing on ChainNet and you know, seeing how that goes and finding issues and bugs and patching as we find them and all that kind of stuff.
Boone, I could hear your smile even though I can't see you. Your smile was audible, buddy. I just want you to know that, okay?
I am
Oh,
proud
so very
father.
excited.
I am proud father.
I love it. Yeah, really good stuff. I love it. Yeah, that Chad, when that happened, a lot of Telegram groups I'm in just started freaking out. I mean, that spread real quickly. That knows, I mean, like within minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super exciting.
I literally had a meeting with the ChainNet team yesterday, actually. We were talking about, you know, all the different chains that we're working on and Zcash and Monero, blah, 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 Tau. And, you know, I was just like, we got to get that Monero thing merged. Like it's really going to, you know, people are going to really, you know, connect with that. And I don't care if it's perfect. Like it's not the point of merging at this moment. Like it can be imperfect. We'll fix it. You know, obviously the most important thing is we don't lose money. Like that's the most important thing. Everything else, we can always just patch it and move on and whatever. But, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect right now. We've already thrashed the fuck out of that PR. It's had like a bazillion comments. And I'm sure Boone's tired as hell of having to deal with my comments and Sly's comments and blah, blah, blah. And just like constantly like.
No, it was my pleasure.
It can be annoying for some developers in that scenario. Maybe not Boone in this particular case, but just getting it merged and then we can start testing it now, finding issues, you know. Otherwise, just like looking at the PR for another 2 weeks with my eyes only is just it's just not a good usage of time, to be honest with you. Like
I love
maybe I'll find another bug or two just by like not doing another pass through it or whatever. But you're gonna find the bugs most easily just by running it on ChainNet and start doing swaps and add liquidities and all sorts of different types of transactions, and then like probably running into edge cases. I know JP's been running Monero like, you know, privately on his own local system and testing A, B, and C. And I think he was telling me the other day that he found a bunch of like weird edge case scenarios where things can go awry or wrong, and so, you know, we'll be integrating those concepts of things that he noticed in his personal testing that he's been doing, just to make sure we can get things as solid as we can before we get actually to mainnet.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. That's the correct decision. Just get it on there. Just start twisting it, pulling it, yanking on it, pulling levers, pushing buttons. You know, that's gonna be much more interesting. And I think your point, Chad, it's gonna help us, you know, get this thing even done quicker, right? So
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely. So excited. So did you I don't know, maybe you want to talk about this, but if you don't recommend this at all, but technically once that happens, people can make swaps, right, in that test environment that is in, correct?
Yeah, so ChainNet is like it's a public blockchain, just like mainnet in a sense, right? It is something that could go away at any moment, like, you know, just because of testing purposes or whatever. So it's not really encouraged that people, you know, put their actual money, because it does deal with like layer one Bitcoin and layer one Monero, and like it is real assets. It's not testnet fake assets. It is real assets. So technically speaking, one chain that is live with Monero, you could actually trade from Monero to Bitcoin or whatever in that moment. Again, I would not recommend that. And if you did, I would recommend keeping the amount small because things could go wrong. And, and obviously we it's not a validated chain yet. It's not tested. It's not, so I would advise against it. But technically speaking, you could actually make the first, Monero to Bitcoin trade just in a decentralized way, if you were so inclined.
How big are the pools on ChainNet? Is it like $100, $1,000?
That's a good question. It is pretty small. Maybe like $1,000 or something like this, like very tiny. It's not obviously not there to provide a significant amount of liquidity. It's just there to test the functionality of.
Watch the degens get in there and jack the volume on XMR on ChainNet. And
I don't even know if anybody's even arbing the thing, right? Like even if you did like a streaming swap, it may not even work as a streaming swap because there's no arbs that are arbing the pools. So it would effectively trade as not a non-streaming swap, even though it did actually stream, because there's no arbs, midstream arbing the other direction to give you that kind of high efficiency output. So again, like that's why I wouldn't necessarily recommend people actually touch it or interact with it, other than if you want to test it, if you want to try some things out and you don't mind possibly losing the money that you're throwing into the system, then, maybe that'd be fine. But, we can't guarantee funds, of course, and wouldn't recommend people putting real money in that thing.
The real reason I brought that up, Chad, is because I know a few Monero developers. I don't know who they are, right? But they reach out to me on X, and they're very excited, very curious. Do you think it's worth their time to play with it as well? I don't know. Maybe that's solely for. I don't know if there's any utility there at all.
If they do want to do that, I think that's okay. I would recommend them doing it with our devs as well, to be a part of the process or whatever, and not just like going rogue and like just start doing crap. Because maybe we're not ready for them to do that crap because we're still trying to get this other part done first, which is precedes that or something like this. And so to do it in a more collaborative sense, that'd be great. It'd be good to get a pair of eyes that's, Monero experts to help us validate X, Y, and Z. That would be positive, and we would appreciate the assistance and help and engagement from that community. But I'd rather do it in a collaborative kind of way than a rogue state running off and doing a bunch of random stuff.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense. Perfect. Well, that's huge news, guys. I'm so excited. XMR being merged, at least in the Thor node. Testing is going to start happening. Like, this is real, right? That's the real deal right there. There's just no more theoretical, like, it's coming. So, a huge milestone.
Actually, like another benefit we haven't talked about yet is that in 3.18, which is being cut today, we put all the changes to the Thor node side of things. Like there's like the Bifrost side, and then there's like a Thor node side. We put all the Thor node stuff changes already in that was already merged like earlier this week into the 3.18 release, which basically means we can release the Monero side, the Bifrost side, arbitrarily at almost any moment we want. So we can cut 3.18.1, for example, whenever we feel like it. And within 3.18.1 is a working, functioning, Monero or maybe even Tau / like Polkadot. And so we could release that like anytime over the next like week or 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, or like we don't have to wait for the next 3.19 release, which would be like probably like 6 weeks from now or greater. We could do it much sooner. So hopefully by the end of May or maybe into June, we can have Monero live and trading and, early stages. And I would suggest like low liquidity to start, just to make sure there's no major problems or issues. I wouldn't suggest putting $1 billion through there on day one. But yeah, we could probably go live, by the end of May or like, early June, hopefully.
Wow.
Simply incredible. Simply incredible.
Yeah.
And those, because we're going to have people watching who are maybe not that familiar with THORChain. So, it basically, we can push XMR in a patch. And then when we do, we have to have a churn. And then that will create the vault. Then it has to be seeded, which again, to Chad's point, won't be a lot of money. And then swaps would have to be activated via Mimir by nodes, I think, right? then you could swap. And at that point, to Chad's point, you want to be careful, not use a lot of funds, and realize do not be surprised if XMR pauses right away because of a bug. That's very likely to happen.
It's very possible because you can't
Yes.
recreate the chaos kind of environment that mainnet has in a test environment like chainnet. You have like no chaos in like unit tests, a little bit in regression, a little bit more in testnet, a little bit more in chainnet, but you don't get like full chaos, you know what I mean, of crazy weird behaviors until you get to mainnet, unfortunately. So you do the best you can and before that point, but there's a decent chance, especially being a very new chain, which is very complicated. There's a lot of technical kind of nuances to this particular chain relative to most other chains, and so there's just a lot of opportunity for things to go awry or weird or in a way that's unexpected or what have you.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain how exciting this is. I'm thinking if we know when it's about to go live, maybe Kenton, we should do like a special episode on a day. If we have time to just kind of like walk people through it, you know what I mean? Because
yeah, we should bring Cake Wallet on for that one too, because I know Cake Wallet's going to be like ready.
That'd be great.
We were talking to them at the Bitcoin conference. I think you and me and
Yep.
I think Randy was there too, and Kenton, and I think they sound like they're ready like almost like day one for Monero trades, and Cake Wallet's obviously a massive wallet within that community. So if we do something like that, I think it would be probably beneficial to pull on one of the Cake Wallet guys.
They kind of promised me in a way, but they committed to it themselves. They said we'll have it live day one. When you guys go live, we'll have it live on the wallet. So
yeah.
And I've had a few Monero wallets have reached out to me to get an API to do this. So it won't just be Cake will be the biggest, obviously.
Yep.
But it won't be the only one. So yeah.
Edge Wallet said the same thing to me, that they're going to try to be ready on day one as well. So I think there's a lot of people watching this, and they are very eager, and rightly so, because this is a huge moment. So, woo, boys, I'm really excited. I don't know about y'all. I better calm down. I'm not gonna drink this. I'm not gonna drink it. Okay, I'll lose my mind.
No, you can't drink it. It's mine. You can't drink that. You got to put it in the mail.
Yeah,
I'm actually surprised you didn't drink it, Chad.
You need to next day air that to me right now.
Did you buy two of them or just the one?
I bought the one, but never drank it. I thought I was, because I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning that day to get on a flight to fly out to Vegas, and then like I was just tired. As you remember, I was like pretty sick at the same time, and we were hanging out until late hours. I made like the adrenaline of like shooting guns into the evening in a random spot. You know what I mean? And it was just.
Yeah, that was a
I
fun
thought
day.
I thought I was going to pass out, but I guess the guns kept me awake.
Yeah, they're natural caffeine. It's a natural stimulant. You know what I mean? It awakens something very tribal and masculine inside of you. It's great coffee. You know what I mean? If I could start my day off with a desk pop, just wake up and go bang, 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 I would be the most effective coffee in the world. Let me tell you, not very safe, but
Or maybe it was all the cocaine on your dashboard in your car. There's just tons.
Oh, thank you, Chad. Thank you for saying that on a live stream. You know what I mean? I appreciate that.
No, I mean flour. All the flour you had on your dashboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Flour. Powdered sugar. Powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Salt.
Going back to pools being small and ramping them up, how are we at with Solana?
We've had problems. I was talking to the Treasury recently, and they were trying to add more liquidity in the pool, but there's something wrong with VoltSig signing Solana transactions, and just like some sort of signing error that happens, and so there seems to be bugs within the wallet itself that's kind of been a problem to getting more funds in there. But the Treasury's been trying to add more funds there for a while now, just hasn't been able to, unfortunately.
So is this a wallet issue, or is this a
I think
Solana issue?
No, I think it's a wallet issue, but I'm not 100% certain.
Oh, okay, weird.
Yeah.
So it's like VoltSig has to figure that out, because you guys use VoltSig, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I think remember with rapid swaps, they weren't quoting properly, and an update had to go through so they would quote properly. Has that is that update that go through with 3.17? So that's live now?
Yeah, that would have been maybe in 3.16 if I'm not mistaken. But yes, that would be live by now.
It's fixed.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we can. Okay, so I got to talk to the guys about fixing it on STO.
Yeah. By the way, like that, I'm like hoping with this new kind of there's a change in 3.18 that grants a certain contract from app layer to have 0 BIP trading for reasons of like this concentrated liquidity slash ARB kind of functionality. And that should hopefully once that feature is live, which won't be, today or tomorrow, but probably in a few weeks, that should really provide the ARB liquidity for rapid swaps. Like, remember we were talking about rapid swaps, like it's only as effective as ARBs are willing to ARB, right? And so far ARBs haven't been ARBing as much or as I would have liked to have seen. But hopefully the app layer is going to be kind of taking care of it in some ways. And so once that is live and it starts like doing what it's supposed to be doing, they can probably, my hope is at that point, we can start ramping up rapid swaps from like, being like half the time to a third, to a fifth, to a 10th, to a 100th or whatever, and just ramp it up as far as it, more or less can go to really speed up those trades to be as fast as possible.
I really am looking forward to seeing how this works. Like every time I'd stop to think about the app layer arbing the pools, I keep thinking it's like standing in a bucket trying to pick yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, where's the external like I understand the Oracle, but I'm like, well, like I'm still, yeah,
Well,
I don't
I
understand
think
that one.
like maybe one way to kind of say is that like you have the external price information, the market price information coming through the Oracle, so that the app layer gets the current Bitcoin price. It knows the market price, which is the Oracle price, and it knows the pool price, which is obviously the pool price. And then it can ARB based upon that information. And then once it gets swapped through, like say you have all the Rune and then the Rune goes to Bitcoin, but you need more Rune to go this direction, but you don't have any more. Usually you would go back out and then through centralized exchange and then like come back around like this. But because they have like 0 BIP trading, they can just swap back, and not and get like a, more or less the same as what you would happen externally, I think. I don't know.
There's only so much you can ARB because it's relative to how many assets they have and that delta,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's not like they can do it forever. Like there's a point,
Right. And that's true
yeah.
with any ARB, right? Whether
Okay.
every ARB is capped by its liquidity. But I think this ARB system is designed so that I hope I get this right, but anybody can provide liquidity into this ARB bot. Like, Denny could do it and just like lock up some Rune or whatever. And then Denny would get, some percentage of the value. Like I think half the value would go to like Denny and everybody else who is like Denny, and then half the value would go back into like the protocol itself as system income. So some of this ARB that's happening is going to like go to the people who are providing liquidity, and some of the ARB that's happening will go back into the system income and stay within that kind of base layer to increase system income.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Okay, so
I
this makes
thought about this. Like, I'm not saying I'm against this because I mean, better pricing and capturing ARB volume and ARB, profit. I mean, that just sounds good. But doesn't this violate one of the promises of the app layer where it wouldn't do anything that a user can't do? Like, if we're giving them like privileged rates, isn't that like breaking one of the original deals?
I mean, I don't see it that way personally, but I mean, that statement was more about like, it's just interacting with the protocol, like any user was like, doing a deposit
Yeah,
transaction
but no
or a
user
swap or
has
whatever.
0 bips swaps.
Right. And that was part of the discussion that was made about like, in order to achieve a better outcome for the base protocol and provide more value to the base protocol by keeping liquidity in the system rather than being leaked through external arbitrage bots, keeping it inside and keeping the income high was just a discussion that was made for this particular smart contract. Which, by the way, that's all mirrored. So, like, if the nodes are really against this, and if they want to vote against it, they can go ahead and do so. Like, it still requires nodes to get on board with it.
Perfect. Okay. I do have some questions from the community. Chad, people would like to know what's XM, not XMR, I'm sorry, Zcash. What's Zcash looking like when it comes to integration? Do you know how close we are? Is it
Yes.
imminent or?
So we ran into a problem where we needed it to do a churn to go to the next step or the next phase of Zcash's rollout. But the network was like stuck on a churn for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever the hell the number was. And it ended up being, I think, one of the node operators had multiple nodes and their own nodes couldn't talk to each other, which was causing, when they got, it was causing all sorts of issues, and we just couldn't churn because of that. And they didn't realize that was the issue. And eventually they did, and they fixed it, blah, blah, blah. But yes, there's a timing thing we have to do, which we might just wait until 3.18 because there was a change in 3.18 to make things a little less fragile and a little bit, more resilient to issues. Because right now, when you want to roll out a new chain, there's a change you have to make for node operators to adopt before the next churn. Otherwise, the churn kind of like, is broken, and some of the vaults have addresses and some of the vaults don't have addresses, which is obviously like kind of gets into like a split brain kind of thing, which is not great for obvious reasons. And so we might just wait until 3.18 is rolled out, which would be next week, hopefully next week. And once that's rolled out, we can get nodes to enable the Bifrost scanner on the thing. And then the next churn after that, it should generate the Zcash address. And then once that happens, the treasury can, add some liquidity into the pool, right? And get the pools kind of started. And then you're, Bob's your uncle at that point.
Perfect. Yeah.
So say like maybe like 2 weeks, I'm going to guesstimate it, maybe a little bit longer, but I know I said earlier, like, end of April, but the churn being blocked for weeks, end up being a blocker for us of rolling this out. So so we're delayed a few weeks because that was delaying us a few weeks.
And then there's another question kind of related to that. Someone wants to know when 3.18 will be live. And my understanding is like, we're literally as soon as possible. Devs are actively trying to get this going right now. And so I don't know if you can give like a time frame on that, but literally as soon as possible.
It should be cut up. It should be cut today. If not, maybe it's already done right now and I haven't seen it yet. And then probably by the end of next week, we should be live with 3.18. I would guess.
Okay. There you go. I have another question here. Gosh dang it. There it is. Okay. So the custom concentrated liquidity on the app layer. Someone wants to know if if TC Treasury or the team are we going to deploy funds on CCL for anything at all? That's the question.
That's a good question. There hasn't been any conversation at this time amongst the Treasury to do something like that. Not that it's for it or against necessarily, but just the conversation hasn't really been started. That might be the case. I don't know. We'll see. I really don't have an answer for that question.
There you go. Okay, very good. We'll do a follow-up another time then, no big deal. And I think that's all the questions I have, guys. Please, if you have any questions, always, just tag me in Telegram, or if you're in chat, obviously put it in chat right there. And please share this, guys. Let's get this out. We got some really big news coming here. I mean, friggin' Monero is like right around the corner. That is like one of the most earth-shattering, groundbreaking things. And we have gotten so emotionally accustomed to it. Like, we say it really nonchalant, but this is actually like literally the most crazy thing to like ever happen. The permissionless access to, I mean,
it's funny,
wild.
like if the day would ever to come that there's like a blockchain Hall of Fame or museum or something like this, if that would ever happen, I don't know if it ever would or not, but if it would, like THORChain definitely needs to be like in the like historic moments of crypto history / Hall of Fame, whatever, because as a protocol, we had, were the first DEX to support Bitcoin, right? That's a monumental moment, right? That's a pretty, I would argue, a fairly historic moment. And the same was true for Doge and Litecoin and I don't know, a bunch of other chains as well. And now we're adding to that long list of like, the first to support blah, blah, blah. Monero being on that list, so I think we've really kind of established ourselves as a protocol into like the history books,
We've broken history. we've broken history so many times. It's like a banality for us now. It's just another day. It's like
Yeah.
almost like we've made it boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we do it
There
so friggin' awesome.
there are so many things that I could point to of the innovations and the contributions that this protocol has made to the industry as a whole. We can talk about like first ones to support cross-chain DEX in general, anywhere, ever. Like that's pretty, by itself is pretty amazing. And then with the first one to support, all these chains like Bitcoin and Monero, whatever. Also the first ones to do, streaming swaps. Right, like that was a big change and a really strong advancement in the industry of AMMs. And it's like there's so many things I could talk about that were, they were like historic in the context of crypto history, that we as a protocol and as a community had, have established. It makes me very proud of the work that I've done and the work that we've done, communally around this project.
I'm so proud of everybody. So proud of everybody. And it's like, for example, meeting Boone in real life. You know what I mean? Like, guys, I can't emphasize how important this is. This is the difference, I think, with our community, and I think almost every other crypto, like maybe besides the app layer and my protocol, obviously they're ideologically aligned, but we have a mandate. Right? It's like we have a vision that we are not going to give up on. Like this is just something that just really distinguishes, I think. And you can feel it. Like when I talk with Boone, and like you can feel it's something that you can't fake. There's a sincerity, there's a realness there of like we are going to do this. Like we have this grand vision that we have a huge problem we're fixing, and it's just something that I'll never get bored of. I love this so very much. And I've noticed, Chad, a lot of people on X, Kenton, I think you know this too. There's a lot of people who are now seeing THORChain and they're beginning to understand. I've seen profiles I didn't even know they existed with decent following. They're saying, now, hang on a second. THORChain's onto something right here. Because we have seen so many protocols close up shop just in the last months. I mean, protocol after protocol after protocol. And here's THORChain, like just this beacon of light. You know what I mean? The light at the end of the tunnel of we're just engaged. The Discord is on fire. We're pushing, and we've got so many things going for us. It's just such a powerful contrast.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Can't get enough of it.
Right.
Love you,
Bye,
buddy.
Boone.
Later, Bone. Yeah.
Good job.
A great tweet that was put out that really, showcases what you just said, Denny, was that one from like, I think Runir was the name of that person. And they said like, I was offline out of crypto for like a year. And then I got back online. I rejoined 30 different Discord channels of 30 different, projects or whatever, crypto projects. And they were all just ghost towns except for one. And obviously that was THORChain. Like that to me, that's like a big indicator of something significant. You know what I mean? That we have such strong resilience. And I think it's largely because we have product market fit. We actually solve a real problem in the industry. We provide a valuable service that people are willing to shell out large sums of money to utilize our service. You know what I mean? Which is why we generate so much fees and revenue for the protocol and all that kind of stuff. So that should be a bullish sign for anybody.
Absolutely. Kenton, I want to make your job marketing THORChain as easy as freaking possible, because I think the product market fit has never been more obvious, especially with all this KYC stuff going on and the harm it's causing people, right? I mean, it is so obvious. It's so obvious that this is what needs to happen. And I think the market's really figuring it out. I don't know if you want to add to that, Kenton, but this is just great.
Well, it's you, Chad, the devs, the community does make THORChain easy to market because
Yes.
it's got a real story and it has a real product market fit, and it is interesting. It's a good litmus test to know if something is like if a product is gonna, if it can sell, does it tell a good story, right? And it's like that's what marketing is. That's what sales is, right? Is you're buying a story. And that's what meme coins are. You're buying the story of that meme coin, right? And so, the story of THORChain's story is actually great. It's good. You mentioned all the firsts, the historical precedents that THORChain has set. But it's more than that. Is the freedom angle, and this is what I think really has kept the community together and kept everyone going. Is that it's kind of like it's freedom or die, freedom or bust, and everybody understands what's on the line. And I don't want it's not I don't want to kick anyone while they're down, but these other projects that fail or don't go anywhere, they don't have that freedom narrative, right? And it's like there's nothing to really like latch onto and sink your teeth into and really feel passionate about. Get you excited, Denny. So THORChain has this in spades. So so I got to. My job is to amplify all that. Take everything you guys think and believe and amplify it and get it out there. And it is great when I talk to different platforms about, the THORChain, what we're doing and the message and all that. Like a lot of people, well, I don't know if they're lying to me or not, but they all like, we believe, we agree, long-term fan, what have you. So, and to what you're saying earlier, Denny, the people are taking notice, or I like to think they've always noticed, but maybe now they're more confident in saying it out loud, right? Because nobody wants to support a losing team. They always want to support the winning team, right? The bandwagon jumpers that, oh, this team is winning now. Oh, I've been a fan my whole life, right? Well, where were you cheering 2 years ago, right? So I think it's a good sign that THORChain's starting to win again. That these people are coming out of the woodwork. They want to show support for the winning team. They want to be part of that. So so yeah, I think it's cool. It's awesome. And it
I
and just so sorry, one quick. Sorry, no, I'm rambling a bit. But to everyone behind the scenes, the devs, the moderators, all you guys who stuck with the project, guys running the Lemur Labs, guys running the Twitter accounts, everyone behind the scenes who is stuck with THORChain and helping keep it going and keep updating, fixing, like that's why we're in this moment, to celebrate, to be recognized, for people to, if nobody was doing all this work for the last year and a half, we wouldn't be getting this recognition that we are today, right? The recognition today is a result of the work over the last year and a half. Everybody continuing and keep going and pushing forward and staying true to their values. So it's kind of like there's a saying that I'm going to botch the saying, but something like, it takes 10 years to become a overnight success or something like that. So like, it can, whether it's today or 6 months or whatever, THORChain could just all of a sudden take off and become huge. It wasn't because something we did in that moment. It was everything else leading up to it, all of that work and effort and struggle. So keep going, guys. You make a difference. You're doing good. You're doing well. I appreciate you. I think everybody else does too. So
Thank you, everybody watching this. You are such an important member. Us being on this podcast, right? I mean, we're only a portion of what makes THORChain great. You, the listener, whether this is live or recording, you are so important, and I hope you understand that. But I want to take a second, Kenton, and I do want to thank Chad one more time. I really appreciate you coming back, Chad, because you have a very unique brain, and I really appreciate your brain. For example, you didn't have to be told to whip up Hugin, which has been probably one of the most powerful power-ups for THORChain. You are ahead of the curve, and I really just appreciate your innovative, intellect, your forward thinking, your dynamic. It's a very rare quality to have someone of, your age. A lot of people think that old dogs can't do new tricks. You're literally reinventing the wheel, right? I know you're not an old dog, but you know what I mean.
How old am I?
you're a boomer.
I'm a boomer. I'm 85.
We're all getting up there, boys. We're all getting up there.
I mean, I'm happy to come back. I'm happy to help this protocol, get on top again. And for people who have been watching closely, like I've spent exorbitant amounts of my time and energy on this protocol after coming back to it, to launch, limit orders and rapid swaps and Hugin and Monero and Tau and Zcash and dynamic fee model and maybe rev share and like there's just tons of things that I've been pushing really hard since I got back to push this protocol forward and get it to a really great spot, and I'm obviously that should be a strong signal to the industry and to the community as well that this project is so far from being done with. Like it is like it continues to push the edge and edge out and advance in a way that no other protocol can even touch, in a sense. So like I'm very proud of the work that I've been doing since coming back, and I'm very proud of working with this team and this community again. And I'm looking forward to that moment when, we're like back to the place we were when I had left it, over a year ago.
We're just getting started, boys. We're just getting started,
Yeah.
Kenton. So
Yeah.
and I hope you remain the marketing CMO forever, Kenton. You can't
Yeah.
die, you can't get old, nothing.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I would like to, but I want to be intellectually honest with you guys. I can only do as good a job as if I'm able to lose it. Right? I can't get complacent, get comfortable. So that's why I feel I need to actually start delivering some stuff. That's why I've been waiting for this website so I can do some real proper outreach. I need to get that done. It's been bugging me. It's been really, I feel, uh, I'm behind. I need to get it done. Um, and then afterwards, I'm really looking forward to seeing what can I do, to like get users, and I don't give up. I I I keep asking until I get the answer I want to hear. Um, and even if I don't get the answer I want to hear, I still try to find a creative way to work with it. So, um, I feel pretty confident in my ability to. If I don't get things to work, I'm at least turning over every stone to do it. But I feel like I can find something, figure something out, and um, yeah, it's kind of like like the same with THORChain not succeeding. I just don't know how marketing this won't work. Like I was saying earlier, like the story sells itself, right? It's a lot of products you kind of have to you have to convince people to use them, right? But like this is something people already want. Like
They need
this
it.
kind of they need it.
Yeah.
This is like a no brainer, right? We just have to get it in front of them and just tell them it exists.
Yeah.
Like
It
anyone you talk,
passes the dot test, right? Right, Kenton?
yeah, exactly. The dots, exactly.
Yeah.
Like anytime you talk to somebody new, like, well, yeah, that sounds awesome. That of course I should use that. I'm like, yes, of course. Like, so we just need to bridge that gap. And so, I'm gonna do everything I can, pull out all the stops. Um, I can be annoying in a really good way. So, and yeah, I know I know I can get the message out there. So, um, yeah. Uh, so yeah, thanks. Yeah, I do want hopefully keep doing this. This was part of. Remember when I was campaigning for the marketing budget last summer, and every day I was posting a snapshot of the biggest companies in the world
Yes.
and their marketing budgets. And I think if you average it out, I think the average was 7% that a company will spend on revenue. On 7% of their revenue goes towards sales and marketing. And these are the biggest companies in the world, like all like the big brands you've already all are familiar with. Like it doesn't end. Like this is when you need to do it to get to the top, and you need to do it to stay on top. And this is why these companies will sponsor F1 cars or sports arenas. As you keep getting bigger, you have the promotion has to get bigger. The right, you have to get that brand everywhere and stay everywhere. Guys, I would love to get to the point where THORChain is sponsoring a hockey arena. Forget all the other sports, the hockey. But
You Canadian.
um, but you know where I'm going with this, right? Like, is that means we've won. We're winning. THORChain is huge. It's massive. And like, so for anyone to think we can become the biggest exchange in the world without any kind of promotion like that. I mean, okay, we don't have to be sponsoring a sports arena, but like, we got to be just something huge. Like, we'll be spending a lot of money getting the name out there. So, yeah, it'll be spending money to get the name out there to grow, and then it'll be spending money to maintain our position, to prevent somebody else. There's always been up and comer,
Yeah.
right? Got to keep them at bay. So
By the
yeah, this
way,
job won't end. It should go on forever.
in THORChain history, and this is not really like a well-known fun fact of our history, because I just saw that Tezos is on an F1 car. There was a pop up in their little screen here. There was a race car that wanted us to sponsor them in Australia back in 21, I want to say, or maybe 20. And it wasn't like a F1 like major thing. It was like kind of like a minor league or whatever that's called in the F1 world or whatever it is, or like race car world. But there was a driver that was a huge THORChain fan, and he he reached out through a friend of ours to the protocol, like, would you guys be willing to sponsor, and put the THORChain logo all over my race car. We ended up not doing it because at that time, THORChain didn't really do marketing. We didn't really have a marketing budget or marketing people. That was just that's not how we decided to run the protocol. We relied on people like Denny to do kind of a grassroots approach to marketing. But obviously that's changed today. Now we have Kenton, and Kenton's doing a great job. But that's kind of a funny thing. We were almost on a sports car years ago, and we ended up just not doing it.
I would love to get to that point where we're having that honest to God, have to think about it. Cause like, the first step would be, I've always thought like a Super Bowl ad. That'll be with it. That should be within our reach.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like I mentioned, I watch hockey. If you guys watch hockey, and the boards, they'll have advertising around the boards on the rink. And I saw Polymarket there the other day during a game. So stuff like that.
We almost had, this is another kind of fun story that nobody knows about. A friend of a friend was friends with Joe Russo. And if you don't know what Joe Russo is, he's like one of the biggest directors in Hollywood. He did Endgame and Civil War and Infinity, like all the Marvel stuff. A lot, not all of them, but a lot of them.
And
And
that's Kevin Feige.
Feige's more of the producer.
Okay. Well, he's a director?
No, this guy's a director. So there's the Russo brothers, Joe Russo, and I forget the other brother's name is.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They're the ones that did like Captain America: Civil War. They did Avengers: Endgame and Infinity War, blah blah blah. Like, and they're doing the new Avengers: Doomsday. I think they're directing that one. So anyway, so like there's like a friend of a friend connected me to Joe. And so I was on, so I had Joe Russo on my Telegram that I was just kind of chit chatting with, who's he's actually a crypto fan real life. And, but he hooked us up and so Joe Russo has a marketing firm that he runs with a friend of his called Superconductor. And oftentimes that's used to use the actors who are in Marvel films to do commercials and ads, sometimes for the Super Bowl, like you were just saying, Kenton. And they've done like Tide was used for Benedict Cumberbatch did a Tide commercial through them, I think, or something like this. And so we started talking about getting Chris Helmsworth to be the spokesperson for THORChain. This is a true story. And so we started chit-chatting and like we started kind of gaming some ideas and throwing out some concepts, and I was and I was participating in the writing of this. And for me, I'm not a writer, nor am I a director, obviously, but it was such a fun thing just to be engaged in the process. You know what I mean? And we were just talking back and forth and kind of floating ideas and how we want to structure this, and then it came down to the treasury and wanted to spend, I forget how much it was. It was millions of dollars. It was obviously not going to be cheap to get Joe Russo to direct a commercial with Chris Helmsworth, for THORChain. Like that was obviously that's not going to be a cheap thing. Those are like, high A level, like Matt Damon level, you know what I mean? Like Matt Damon did the whole crypto.com thing for the Super Bowl a few years ago. And it was going to be a Matt Damon, you know what I mean? And so it was like a real thing we discussed for a good while. And in the end, the Treasury just didn't want to put up the millions that it would have cost. I argued at the time that like it doesn't even matter if it costs millions, just getting Chris Helmsworth to do a commercial. Yeah. And I was pushing for Chris Helmsworth to do a bunch of just like memes for us, just like acting surprised, acting angry, just a bunch of facial expressions or something like this that our community could use just to post on Twitter or whatever, like just respond and just troll people or whatever the fuck it would be. Because I was saying that like the room price would go up, enough that it would have totally covered the cost, but I could not get the Treasury to agree with me on this. And so the deal was kind of lost. And then when I kind of pulled back from the protocol about like a year and a half ago, I kind of like, I was a little bit bored in some ways because I wasn't working at the time, and I was like, what if I don't know. What if I make this happen? And maybe I can get the community to fund it. The treasurer's not going to want to do it. Maybe I can put out an alert to the community, and like I can just raise funds from the community to do this. And so I reached out to Joe again, and he reached out to Chris Helmsworth about doing a commercial, whatever. But at that time, it's just like crypto was in the shitter. There was like so much thing about, FTX and, Terra Luna, and like a lot of celebrities got burned doing, FTX and Terra Luna stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so there was just like, there was so lack of interest on Chris. Chris was just like, I ain't touching crypto, which totally fair. Like I totally get it. Like I don't blame him in the least. Like he's probably, in some ways he's right to do that in some ways, because it is such a, kind of a toxic, industry in some ways of looking at it. But like I tried to kind of rehash that again, because it would have been so much fun just to like, help be a part of the process and watch it be directed and like watch, go there to see it filmed and, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, we got to make it happen. So this will be one of our goals. We get them when THORChain gets big enough, the marketing fund gets big enough. I agree. Like something like that, you pay, like it's really hard to measure, to know, but like that's why Scientology gets all these celebrities. That's why anybody gets a celebrity to do anything, because it gives you cachet, it gives you some, right?
Yeah.
And like
the celebrities don't even give any money into the system. Like everybody who joins Scientology, whatever, like you lose all your money. Like you just give all your money to Scientology, and they give it, and they kind of provide everything they back to you. But celebrities don't get that because they want them to join because, oh, we've got this famous person.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't know that, man. That's the first time I've heard that. That's awesome. So if you've got that connection,
it's not public knowledge. I never discussed it publicly before, but we were just talking about marketing and blah, blah, blah. And you talking about the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that I was in talks for a while about shooting. Maybe we weren't going to use it for the Super Bowl. I'm not sure we're going to use it for the Super Bowl or not, but shooting a commercial that would have aired on, TV or whatever.
God, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Kenton's wheels are turning.
I think it's attainable. One day, I think that's plausible.
I agree.
It might take a while. Maybe by the time I get there, Chris Hemsworth's career isn't what it used to be. So maybe he needs some money. He's willing to do it. Crypto is way better, way more mainstream.
Yeah.
So it's more comfortable now. God, that'd be awesome to pull that off, Chad.
After that Matt Damon impression, I think he's out though. I don't think I get Matt Damon.
I'm shocked that you couldn't get the Treasury originally to go for it.
No,
the Treasury had like 100 million, right?
Yeah, I couldn't get it. I mean, I don't think it was that much at that particular time, but I couldn't get it. And the funny thing was, like, I had heard through the grapevine that Joe Russo was hired by, I think it was Amazon Prime. This is like somewhat unrelated, but related, to do a show on FTX. And I heard about this and I reached out to Joe because like I was so worried about like a show coming out about something like FTX and that just giving the impression to the greater world and just kind of curving hearts and minds that crypto is for criminals or crypto is where blah, blah, like bad things. And I reached out to Joe. I was like, hey, like I heard through the grapevine that you were cast or hired or whatever the right phrase is to be the director of this new TV show. I think maybe the project got canned later on, whatever. But I offered, like, if you need anything, right? Like, obviously I'm in the space. I know this place well. If you need like an advisor or like, I'll, do for free, whatever, to help. Cause I wanted to make sure that he didn't, paint crypto in a completely horrible light or whatever. And I wanted to make sure that it's not crypto that's the problem. It's this individual, what was the problem? Like a Bernie Madoff kind of situation. Not so much like, and so he actually introduced me to his writers and I had a meeting with his writers. And they asked me a whole series of questions about this and that. And I just tried to inform them the best I could about like the benefits of crypto and why it's important and kind of, imbue that kind of more positive perspective of the value proposition to what we do here. I think the project got canned though, because I haven't seen anything about it since then. So I'm assuming that just means that it got canceled or something. But it was a thing for a while.
Wow. Right on, man.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I could go down this marketing rebel. Like I was just thinking about the Super Bowl ad. I was like, what kind of ad would THORChain would it be? Would we try to make it short, quick, and funny? Would we make it serious about economic liberation? Children having a future. Like there's so many angles you could take. So I think that'd be an interesting topic to have.
This would be one reason. Maybe one day you guys fire me. Is that like I'm of the opinion or belief that like you have to be edgy. You got to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And sometimes that might offend somebody or it might be taken the wrong way or whatever, right? You got to stand out. Otherwise, you're just wasting money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying, be offensive or something for the sake of being offensive, but like, it'd have to be, be kind of like the Sydney Sweeney jeans commercial. Like she got a lot of slack for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like they just copied a commercial from the 80s. I forget what Brooke Shields or somebody. I can't remember who the model was. It was the exact same commercial. They just copied it. And back then she got slack. They got slack for that one because her age or something like that.
Mm. Oh yeah, she was like 16 at the time or 15.
Yeah,
or
I think
like
so.
this.
Yeah.
She was,
And
like, underage.
so anyway, so like to be honest, I didn't even when I saw the Sydney Sweeney commercial, I'm like, this is awesome. Like I think she's attractive. Nowhere in my mind even did I think about white supremacy and racism or anything. I'm like, and I'm like, I don't even know how people just kind of come up with anything to complain, right? So
yeah,
but that's the type of ad I think we got to do, not to purposely. How does you say this? It's got to be edgy, and somebody might take it the wrong way.
it's got to
right?
get your
And so-
attention. So
yeah,
many people like zone out. It's got to grab you, and that's just like I talked to Mark Mason during the conference, and he said, "Listen, marketing is not for politically correct. You have to get someone's attention, and sometimes that means attractive people or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't want to put words in his mouth, but right, like that's just the reality. Marketing is not a form of a politically correct doctrine. It's not a lecture. You have to get humans are built a certain way. We're wired a certain way. You have to tune into that and get their attention. That's it.
Well, this is why I like the better than sex slogan.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a commercial like that that's very sexual, and we have some sexually explicit stuff, right?
Great idea.
Sex sells.
Exactly. Well, dude, and this is something I've been thinking about too, like paid per click, pay per view type ads, and we have to come up with a picture to show. I swear, guys, I read a research report once, an article once that they did a whole bunch of A/B testing, and the pictures that got bar none, hands down, the absolute most clicks were pictures with the girl's cleavage. And it wasn't just men; it was women too. Both men and women clicks went up.
Yes.
And the product they were selling had absolutely nothing to do.
All right, I get the message.
Thank you, Chad. Let's go, Chad. Let's get it going.
I get the message.
So it didn't matter if you're selling lawnmowers or pillows or a restaurant. It didn't matter. It was all the cleavage. And so, like, I've been thinking about it. Why not
I'm
try
coming
it?
next week with some fake boobs on my chest, just to get more engagement on our podcast here.
But this is the thing, like you said, Danny. People are emotional, like, and we got to tap into their emotions and that lizard brain and what that gets their emotions to act. That's what marketing is triggering people's emotions, and that's how you force them to get them to act.
So like my favorite ads I've seen in the crypto sphere by far is Coinbase's. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen Coinbase's ads. They are so fucking well done. And what they're doing, a lot of their ads, and I'll find a few and I'll send them to you, Kenton, just for you to like check out and review.
Yeah.
But they're really good because they pull upon a thread that almost every American is feeling, which is this financial system doesn't work for me. I can't get a job. I can't get a house. I can't blah, blah, blah. College is super expensive, and it pulls upon this kind of feeling that almost every American, especially young Americans, knows in their core that like this system doesn't work for me, this financial system doesn't work for me, and then Coinbase says, well, like here's your answer, like Bitcoin, blah blah blah, whatever. And like that's to me is I love that because it triggers something within you because it touches something you just inherently already know and you're upset about, but it's also true and it's giving you like a really strong value proposition of like this is why this is so important because that system fucked you over and you can't win in that system. I don't care if you have to work 4 fucking jobs if you want to actually get anywhere in life or whatever the hell it is, like, and they do a really good job kind of pulling upon that to kind of get you to see like there's something better in this world. It's called Bitcoin, it's called DeFi, it's called whatever.
Yeah, the relatability. Mm-hmm.
And that's how great sales and marketing works is you remind the person, you bring up their pain points and what they struggle with today, and you get them thinking about it, feeling it. All those things make me mad. I'm angry. The system doesn't work. I want to do something about it. Oh, here's the product is the solution. And this will make you feel better when you buy this product. And that will now solve your problem and you will feel better. So totally agree. And like we can take it. So Coinbase is going after normies to get them into a sex. We go a layer down. We go after the sex users to get them on the THORChain.
Mm-hmm.
And so our commercial will be all the bad things about centralized exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
The frauds, the scams, the freezing the transactions, freezing accounts, losing money, KYC breaches, people getting kidnapped, attacked, all these bad things about a centralized exchange and get people worked up. Yeah, I hate them. I don't want to use them.
Yeah, high fees, by the way.
High fees.
Yeah.
Here's the solution. Come use THORChain. It'll make you feel better, right?
Yeah.
And so I totally agree. And take it a little step further, I actually want to be able to show people how to use THORChain, which I think which will help a lot. And so part of that commercial can just be doing a memoless transaction.
Yeah.
Right? Sell Bitcoin to buy whatever. And we do a memoless trade and it's all done on the screen. It's very simple. And we promote that, right? We get that on TikTok and Instagram and we push it out there. So like I'm imagining a commercial like that's going to cost us 50 grand. I don't know, like to do it really nice, like high production value. And that looks sharp and it's something we can reuse and push out a lot. So that is definitely on my to-do list in my something I want to do work on. So yeah, please send me those Coinbase commercials.
I will
if you have them.
Yeah. They're done so well. You're gonna love them.
Yeah, I mean, I might even be able to figure out who that production company is and use them. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably expensive. Coinbase is using them. They're probably up there, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask to find out. Because that's the other thing too. Like it's got to look good. You know, it can't just be us doing it on a live stream, recording our computers, right? Like it's got to have a high production value.
It's got to be super good. No, it's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be clean and just concise and just. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Well, I like it. There's the two. I think that just to break it down a little bit, two really good strategies. You do either the relatability, the resonate, with the pain, economic pain, or we can do fertility markers, which biological imperative to breed, to reproduce. That's what our brains like. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. So yeah, I love it. That's great. I think those are two really good strategies.
Yeah, it's what's his name? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is it Maslow? Who?
You're muted, Chad. You're muted.
What's his name?
Maslow.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
So like food, shelter, sex, whatever, right? Like what are those basic things that humans like need or feel? And that's if your product can satisfy those, or you have to reframe. Your pitch has to be, how does your product satisfy one of those things? And that's when you're off to the races. That's why they say like gold. Gold is the fear and greed trade. So it satisfies two of those deep-seated emotions.
Yeah.
Um, and we can kind of tap into that similar thing with THORChain. It is a fear and greed trade. Fear of sexes. I guess it's two slightly different things. Using THORChain and buying Rune, but anyway, we can tap into those feelings, those emotions. Um,
Love
yeah.
it. Good instincts. Love it. I know we're coming on 2 hours. Chad, I want to make sure. Do you have anything that you want to talk about? Anything cool, interesting that's come to mind that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty late, so we probably don't want to spend too much time and can talk more about it next week. But with 318 being released very soon and being adopted very soon, in 318, we were able to get dynamic fee model merged into the 318 release. So once that's live, the plan is to flip it on for just one particular affiliate. It's one of the smaller ones we have just to test it out. And just make sure the behavior is behaving in the way that's expected or not expected or whatever, and see if there's any bugs or problems that we need to iron out or whatever. Hopefully it's good. We can just keep rolling it out. But if there are problems, obviously we have to fix those. So we'll probably roll it out for just one affiliate probably next week, and then we can start seeing how it affects. Like, does it actually give us more yield, more volume? Whatever that might be, and we could kind of start collecting that kind of data, and then maybe tweaking or adjusting things as we see fit. Because the feature is like infinitely complex, I would say, just because the implementation of it now is like probably the simplest, maybe overly simplistic implementation design. But there's so many factors involved that you could tweak for this and you could change for this. And there's like a 1,001 ways you could actually kind of tweak it in one direction or the other. And it might require a little bit of play to figure out the best optimal route of achieving the outcome we want to achieve. But start simple, start clean as a base layer, learn what you can learn about how it reacts with the actual market. And then we can tweak it as we see fit.
Love it. Yeah, just dial it in. Great. Go
Dial
ahead,
it in.
Kenton.
Yeah.
How's it going with the stables to stables swap fee change it to 2 bips? Is it not
Yeah,
going
it's
as
not
good
going
as
so
far?
great, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you why. So ChainFlip already does, I think, 1 bip for stable to stable. So they're already doing. We did 2 bips, so they're already undercutting us by maybe even 3 bips, because 2 bips for us is for each swap, and for a double swap that's 4 bips. And I think ChainFlip, partially because they have USDC as their base asset for all of their pools, they could do like USDC to USDT in a single swap versus like a double swap for them. And then in addition to that, Near is doing, as we discussed earlier, Near is doing 0.1 bips, which is basically effectively zero, very extremely close to zero. So it's not quite working in that area, but at the same time, I'm kind of okay with it in some ways, just because like there's so much competition to get such like a small amount of fees out of a large amount of volume, that there's really not a lot of like meat on the bone. You know what I mean? For us to even kind of take in. So it was not as effective as I would have liked to have seen, but at least by doing the experiment, we learned, you know, you know, we learned something from it, and we can take it with us to help us make better choices in the future. It was worth the try. It was a small code change, and easy to try and see what happens. But
Should we try changing it to 1?
we could, and,
Um,
and so dynamic fee model will do that already, like on its own. And
okay.
so eventually that'll happen with eventually on just naturally. We could do that if we wanted to, and just get the nodes to vote to sit from 2 to 1, and maybe that'll be better. It's possible. Like it's a valid question to ask, but I think dynamic fee will do it for us anyway. So
Can the app
Well
layer
then,
come into play here and help? Maybe. Do you think, or do you think there's not much more improvement we can get with the arbitrage?
I think app layer will help to keep the pools more balanced, which will give us better execution. If we wanted to be more competitive in this specific space of stables to stables, maybe the way to do that is kind of doing what I want to say, was it Uniswap, or what was the name of that pool that Terra kind of collapsed on, UST kind of collapsed on, because they were going from like a 2 pool to a 3 pool.
I don't remember.
Anyways, doesn't even matter. But like creating a new pool where Rune is not an asset in the pool, and it'll just be a pool of stables. right? So it would be
Oh, the
USDC
orbital pools.
or is that the word? Orbital pools, whatever that's
There's
called.
like 5 different stables in one pool, right?
Yeah,
That
so we got like
yeah.
that would be another way of achieving. If you wanted to be more competitive in this specific kind of like narrow scoped view, maybe that's one way we could do it is to create like an orbital pool, to use Kenton's phrasing, and put USDC, USDT, blah 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 blah, and maybe USDC on multiple blockchains. So USDC a few times, and do that way, and that way it's one swap instead of double swaps, so you're already getting half the fees because of that, and we can maybe even tune that to be sub 1 BIP, to be like half a BIP, you know what I mean, and be competitive in that space. uh Maybe that's a choice to do. The funny thing is, like, doing half a BIP is like like $50 for every million in
For a
volume.
million,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
like it's really not that much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, stablecoin volume is massive, and with the Clarity Act coming out potentially soon, hopefully passing through Congress, there might be an uptick in more stablecoin transactions and volume and all this kind of stuff. To kind of like, not very much you would get in fees per swap, but with high quantity and high volume, you could maybe get there. But the other way of thinking is that even with near at 0.1 BIP, which is basically 0 BIP, there's two ways I see that we can kind of approach this to kind of like try to eke out a win here. One is to do rev share, and by doing rev share, um, you know, SwapKit does almost all of their volume for near right now, at least the vast majority. And they're charging 7 bips. I've quoted 25 bips in the past. I was wrong and incorrect about that. Apparently it's 7 bips. In any case, it's that number. And by doing rev share, we would kind of, even though we have a higher fee, we're doing 2 bips or 1 bip instead of the 0.1 bip, whatever. Even though we have a worse trade, because of the rev share, we would get a higher volume of the trades. And that's one way of accomplishing that task. And there's another way I had in mind, and I just forgot about just now. I had it in my mind a moment ago, and I just forgot it. What was the other way?
I do have a question. If
Sure.
okay, so this is something I don't know a lot about, guys. I'm just the orbital pool or curve pool. I don't know. Someone
I
said in
just
chat.
remembered it.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
go ahead.
Chad. Let's do you, and then I'll ask my question, please.
The other way is that, like, because 90 something percent or whatever the volume is of near is going through SwapKit, getting direct integrations with wallets, like say let's take Trust Wallet, for example. Getting a direct integration with them would make us much more competitive, because SwapKit's charging 7 bips and we're just charging 2 bips, you know what I mean, or whatever. And so if that were to happen, we would get all the volume, I would think, in that scenario, because we're cheaper than what SwapKit's provided, because they're putting their 7 bips on top of the 0.1 bips that Near's putting on. Technically, Near's doing more than 0.1, because the solver's is getting a bip or 2 or whatever the amount of the solver's getting. But in any case, the two ways we can possibly, be competitive in this space is either getting direct integrations and not going through SwapKit, and competing with SwapKit in a more direct sense by getting integrations into, like, Trust Wallet, for example, or something like that. Or working with SwapKit and doing a rev share, which I actually have a meeting with them tomorrow to talk about the rev shares, and kind of, we're both kind of playing with ideas and throwing ideas across the table of how this can make sense for them, how this can make sense for us, how can this be mutually beneficial for both parties, and we get more volume and they get more fees, and everybody benefits from that. So those are the two ways we can do it, and so I'm going to be looking into both of those, of course.
It should hopefully this forces SwapKit's hand to do it, because we could go to Trust Wallet with the rev share. And
Yeah,
so they can
theoretically.
go direct into THORChain. You don't pay SwapKit the 7 basis points, and you get a rev share from us. So you go from paying 7 basis points to making 10 basis points, whatever. So yeah, it
Yeah.
should, at least, whether they'll do it or not, whether we should do it like that or not, right? That there's some politics involved, but at least we have those arrows in our quiver
Mhm.
all those levers we can pull to try and fandangle a deal.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
so I have a question. So I know nothing about orbital pools. I'll just hand it. This is something I'm ignorant of this. So in this design conceptually, you have this orbital pool that combines a lot of different stable coins. Would the regular Rune stable coin pool still exist, or would you Ragnarok those?
That's a
This
good
is
question. I think it would still exist because you still would need to be able to trade from Bitcoin to a stable, and that would need to go through the
yes,
USDC
yes,
Brune
yes.
scenario. But when you're going from USDC to USDT, you would probably go through the orbital style pool in that case.
Okay, and then so where I was going with that is that our price oracle would still rely on those rune pools because I was thinking that maybe if you had an orbital pool with always stable coins, would that be an attack vector against the
The Tor.
oracle, a Tor? I'm sorry, because if that fluctuated, but I guess not. If we have the other,
No,
we're good. We're
because
good.
in theory, all the 5 coins or 6 coins or two, whatever the quantity of coins is at Whirlpool, they should have, in theory, have all the same quantity of coins because they're all $1, right? They're all worth the same amount. In reality, it's more complicated than that because sometimes USDC can be $1.01 or 99 cents, and that's an arbitrage opportunity in theory, right? And so arbiters will still arb that scenario. But yeah, it's just there to provide a low fee, efficient trading pool. And we can, this can be POL owned, like we can have the POL system, the system income to POL thing we were talking about with Boone earlier in the episode. We can use that rune to buy USDC out of the rune USDC pool and then deposit that into the orbital pool, in which case ARBs would arb that because there's too much USDC and not enough USDT and the other coins, and ARBs would just naturally, arb that out to level it out. And so we could just keep on dumping, POL into that thing, just grow that liquidity out, to support like larger and larger trades.
And it would churn like any other pool, I would assume. Just yeah, theoretically, okay.
Yeah. The one thing I don't know, like I am not a professional pro on orbital pools. I have to spend some time researching and more deeply understanding it. But the question that I have about these things that concerns me is that what if one of these tokens zeroes out, right? Does like a
Right.
UST style collapse, which by the way has happened for USDT. It
Yes.
has happened for USDC. Like these aren't impervious to DPEGs, right? We saw that happen a couple of years ago for USDC. I mean, we've seen for USAT as well because it was unsure whether it was one-to-one backed, and there was panic in the markets and blah 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 years ago. So it's totally can happen. We can investigate that. Like I said, like I'm not an expert on this. This is something I kind of want to take a look at and more deeply understand.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
I
the
told that
attack vector. Yeah,
too
go ahead.
soon. So yeah, the orbital pull thing, it dropped. So the math did not work, and there's no working implementation of it, just the paper.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think the people working on it, was it last year? It was, yeah, I think it was last year people were talking about it, and it fell apart because they couldn't. It was just in theory. Um,
Yep.
oh, here, Zefiro from Ruji has the math.
Yeah,
Um,
I might be able to reach out to them. But
yeah,
in general, the idea of like being able to find to create a new pool, a new style pool that's more efficient than the pools we have
Uh-huh.
now, just for stable to stables, or even BDC to BDC, right? There's a few different BDC options. There's like WEC and whatever else, and just kind of having a different style pool AMM, for that. Or maybe it shouldn't be an AMM. Maybe it should just be, limit order based only, right? And we just let our bots serve it. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways to approach it,
yeah.
but it is something for us to kind of noodle on and think about over the coming years or months or whatever. I'll keep it in the back of my brain to something to work on to just create a more efficient system to be more competitive in this particular space. Like I said, stablecoin trade volume is massive in the industry as a whole, and I expect it to go even higher as the U.S. markets kind of adopt through regulation, Clarity Act, and whatnot, to kind of make it more legitimized and more institutions get involved and that kind of thing.
It's
As
very
more
interesting.
and more places accept stablecoin as payments, I I would suspect that the crypto wallets will want to be more focusing on stablecoin payments from their wallet So like we talked to one of a big blockchain wallet. That's their number one focus is stablecoin payments.
Mhm.
So I'm curious if that's going to be there's be more out there like that. And so I'm in trying to we talked about this chat a bit offline, but I'm trying to think how THORChain could help also position itself as helping them with stablecoin payments. And dude, I totally forget. You're gonna kill me because I think I've asked you this 3 times now. What if we had our stablecoin to stablecoin at zero and like zero fees, and then so there's no friction, there's no cost to go between them. Traders can go between them, no problem. And then these wallets that want to offer stablecoin payments, they can offer any stablecoin payment, and their users can swap between any stablecoin for free, basically on THORChain. And we use it like a lost leader. Like this is just a way to get people using THORChain to get interested, and we'll make money
Yeah.
on the other pools. Is that possible, or would that open an attack factor because it's free to trade?
Yeah, I mean, there would be some attack vectors to be considered of. It would make the act of price manipulating the pools to be basically free, right? Which could be problematic for a host of reasons, that we should be considerate of. Um, that also, like, you have to keep in mind that we have impermanent loss, and what offsets that permanent loss is the fee collection. If the fees are at zero, there's no collection of fees, so all the pool experiences is basically impermanent loss, which could be problematic in its own kind of maybe. But you could argue maybe we don't care about impermanent loss because it's POL, blah
We're
blah
getting
blah
rid of
blah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you can make that argument, right?
yeah,
But then the question becomes like, well, the protocol is doing all this work to secure these assets and to observe the transactions and do the TSS signing and all this work, and it's getting zero collection or value out of it other than just the glory stat of a higher volume per day, that we can push out on our like metrics and dashboards and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, you could do it in theory. It just what's the bet? Where does the protocol get
yeah,
out of it?
yeah,
At
yeah,
the
yeah,
end.
yeah. Yeah. No, I'm happy to be wrong. Happy for it to be a bad idea, because like let all these other guys trip over themselves to get this .1 basis point
Right.
volume
Exactly.
trade, and we'll collect 5 or 10 basis points and just be happy.
The other thing
And
to consider is that like the pool price and the market price may not always be the same thing, and so even when you charge 0 basis points, you still might not get the trade because the pool is at $1,
yeah,
and non-near it's $1 flat, and even though they're charging is a half a basis point or whatever the number might be, they're still going to beat you out because of that. But then again, the concentrated liquidity, the custom concentrated liquidity thing that the app layer is doing to help improve the pricing on the base pools, maybe that satisfies that problem, in the coming weeks.
yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, yeah.
Very
Okay.
good.
Cool.
Was there something else, Chad, at all? We talked a lot. Do you think we got
Um,
it all?
the last thing I'll mention is this quick one is that in 318, there's also a change to make the limit orders a little bit more efficient, or a lot more efficient actually. So we had a limit on like how long a limit order can stay on the chain before it just gets like canceled automatically, which right now it's set to 3 days. And for a lot of, I got feedback from the community that this number of 3 days was like way too short. They wanted to get something like 6 months or even a year. And we couldn't do that because of the way the code was working. It just wouldn't have scaled, efficiently enough it would have been way too slow. Would have increased our block times significantly, which obviously makes no sense. So there was a small change in 318 to make that so we can raise that number to 6 months or a year or something like this, which should hopefully draw more attention or more interest in that particular feature to drive more volume and that kind of thing. And in fact, I was talking to somebody, I won't say who, but there was some sort of like multi-team competition to produce a new decentralized limit order system for this particular interface or wallet. And so there's like multiple teams competing for that volume or for that contract, whatever. And this team, instead of building their own, they were talking about using our system, as what's funding their system for this large wallet that wants to integrate this particular feature. And they were saying that the 3-day thing is just like it's way too short. It's like it's not very usable. So now that that's going to be fixed as part of 318, I'm hoping that it will actually, at least in some part, get more volume pumping through the limit order functionality.
Perfect. Perfect. That's awesome.
Well,
Really exciting to hear. I love all the little tweaks you're making, man. Just keep going.
yep.
I guess I gotta ask, Hugan, still kicking ass, doing well on that?
You guys looking at, I haven't done a whole lot on it because I've been with the conference and everything else, and
Yes.
it's on the side right now. The main thing I want to work on is just to build a binary that just pulls logs, data, metrics, events from the live minute chain, and then processes them for weird events. Posting something in a Discord channel, Hugan reads the Discord channel, says, "Oh, on this block or these series of blocks, some weird thing happened," and then Hugan then builds its context, gets some logs, gets some data, like runs on the internet, just like using like MCPs, whatever, to pull all this data in, do an analysis of whatever this event was, and then create a thread on Discord, like, "Oh, I just saw this event. This thing happened here. I researched and I triaged it. Here's my findings." And then not only can, the community, Hugan publish this information for us devs, but the community as a whole can see that stuff in real time, including the nodes who can do like a make pause in some kind of extreme situation where there's some sort of like real significant problem going on. And so that would then allow the Hugan to be able to, like, in real time monitor mainnet for some weird activity or weird thing happening, whatever that might be, and then even produce a PR that would fix whatever the problem is. So by the time I actually sit down to my keyboard to address whatever this problem is, Hugan has already fully found it, triaged it, deep dived it, created a pull request, informed the community, opened that thing up, the pull request for review, and we're ready to like merge and move on. So to have much faster turnarounds when we do have some sort of weird problem that happens on, on the production environment or mainnet. We already like know the problem, found the issue, solved it with the code change and everything before the devs even sit down. And it also informs the entire community before the devs even learn about what's going on. It's already been triaged and figured out what the problem is before the devs even done the research on in this. It's just like that kind of instantaneous feedback, assuming there's no hallucinations or something like this, of course, but like that would be super awesome for the protocol, because the community can actually get live information about what's happening on the live protocol and then take action without the devs even being involved at all at that point, and be able to, pause trading or whatever that needs to happen.
I love that so much, because the thing I've noticed over the years, if there's something happening, it's usually never anything crazy, but there's some ambiguity from the node operators where they're not actually sure what's going on. So to have this could actually translate into very efficient, nodes reacting,
Yeah.
because it's hard to know exactly what's going on if they're away from their setup, you know what I mean? So, but they could just make pause on a certain chain, like, because we're gonna be adding all this chain, all this stuff. Like, that
Mm,
sounds super powerful, Chad. I
yeah.
absolutely love that.
I'm excited for it. It's a lot of work, to be honest with you. It's going to be
Yeah.
the biggest feature of Hugan by far. And so it's going to take a lot of time and energy. And I work on Hugan stuff like on the side when I have extra spare cycles. And I say focused on getting Monero merged, like for today, for example, and that kind of more substantial things for the live protocol. But that is the next big thing I'm working on for Hugan. At some point in time, when I have the spare cycles to do, I do want to build that, because I think that would be really beneficial to the protocol, and it'll help us to be more safe and deal with real time issues in a much better way than we do today.
Absolutely legendary, badass. I know we're coming on 2.5 hours. I know we're probably gonna wrap up soon. I want to do something real quick because I forgot to mention it, but there is someone who actually has no obligation to work on the protocol, and they're technically a bystander now, but they are still contributing and helping THORChain get through some quirks, post Nine Realms. And that person's Ursa from
Yeah,
Nine
yeah,
Realms, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because that guy is such a great contributor. And so, Ursa, thank you so much. You have no obligation to do this, and you continue to help THORChain. And dude, I hope you stick around, because you are such an incredible individual.
yeah,
And again, just thank you, man. Really,
yeah,
thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
yeah.
So,
Ditto here. Thank you for sticking around for a little bit longer, at least, and keep helping us deal with. We had a couple of main issues this week, for example, and Ursa was super helpful in dealing with those scenarios. And I'd love to see him stick around for as long as possible.
We're not going to chain you up, bro, but we want to.
I'm gonna kidnap his dog. He's got a dog that he absolutely loves, and that dog. I've met the dog. His dog is awesome, and I will kidnap that dog and I will hold that dog ransom.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to say that. Okay, guys. Kenton, did you have anything else? Chad, Go
Maybe
ahead.
some housekeeping. I noticed, Chad, there's like several votes going on, and you asked the nodes to vote on
you.
the Tor anchor. There's, I think, 3 different stablecoin pools to add as a
Yes.
Tor anchor, and then there's the XUSK switch for is this a Kujiri? An
Yes.
old Kuji token or something?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. I forget what it's used for, to be honest. I kind of forget. But yes, there's a few votes going on. The XUXK is one of them. The Tor was another one. I think there's actually one more, but I'm blanking on what it was. I'm trying to look it up now. I think it was ADR 26, actually the dynamic fee model. I don't think we've gotten consensus on that one either. I think I need a call for that vote, actually, because I let people know about it, but to start the discussion process, but I haven't actually even called the vote, to be honest with you. I forgot about that entirely.
Okay.
That we have to do that one as well. And yeah, I think that's it. And we have
Yeah,
new
so-
ones too we want to do as well, like the max rune supply or max.
Well, I didn't want to talk to you about it, but I feel like it's a 20-minute conversation. If you want to get into it now or next week.
Let's do it next week, because we're not going to be able to
Okay.
vote on that one until these
Yeah.
other ones pass, which will take some time. But we can talk about that
Let's
next
get these
week.
other ones. And I think we should do the store migration on the Doge double spend /
Mhm.
before we should get that sorted out too.
I think that's in 318 actually, so I think it'll be already be.
Should be soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So node operators, bond providers, that Tor anchor, that shouldn't be controversial. I think that's the Tor anchor. I think I just went and did it for my
Yeah.
nodes. I didn't even ask my BPs, which is just doing it. Same with the XUSK. That's just
Yeah, that's
housekeeping.
non-controversial. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get
Kinda
those
easy,
done,
yes.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get them cleaned up. If you're BP, talk to your node operator, make sure he sees them, does them. It's the Thor node mainnet channel. Has
Yeah.
Thor node mainnet has the votes, the description and explanations going on there.
Yeah.
So cool.
Very good. Very good, guys. You think we should wrap her up?
Let's wrap it.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna try and just do a quick little recap I've noticed. And
Wrap
just
the
let me know.
podcast. Don't wrap your Bitcoin.
Yeah, there you go. Don't wrap it. Guys, this has been a great freaking podcast we've done here. Just a quick recap for those just finishing up what we talked about today. You know, we talked about the Keone story, the Samurai wallet. We're going to be looking forward to that, you guys, doing maybe an interview and fundraising for them. Make sure you guys pay attention to that. Kenton broke down what he's doing marketing, token terminals, the fee breakdown, all this stuff. So very, very important. We talked about reallocating the treasury funds and the pools, guys. Boone came in and talked about that. That was a really good conversation. We talked about liquidity dynamics. We talked about Monero, guys. It is coming. It's going to be, now it's being merged. Super, super exciting. It's going to be on ChainNet. So unbelievably excited for that. We talked about how Cakewalk, none of them are going to be ready. Super cool. Zcash, guys, hopefully 2 weeks, maybe 3. We'll see how that goes. 3.18 is, it's hopefully going to be done today, drafted, ready to go. So keep an eye on that, guys. And we talked a lot about marketing. THORChain Hall of Fame, we belong there, and we're going to have a lot of points to be on there. We're going to have, like, when it comes to, like, the Hollywood, like, things, we should have our name on there, like, 100 times, you guys. So thank you guys so much. This has been a wonderful podcast. And again, shout out to the community for just through thick and thin. You guys are always really putting in the work. We really appreciate you. We got more work to do, and we ain't going to slow down. In fact, send it, baby. Send it. We're going to go. Guys, just a reminder, if you'd like to become a node operator and need some help, please reach out to @RuneTard on X. He can help you get set up and find bond providers, guys. We need new node operators, unique node operators. It's so important. And guys, for THORChain data and insights, follow @RayAnalytics on X. He does the written recaps for these podcasts, so definitely give him a follow. Super important. And always remember, guys, the views expressed are solely of the hosts and guests. Any action taken on this information is at your own risk. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and the THORChain community community does not endorse or condone illicit activity of any kind whatsoever. This Saturday, we're going to be talking with our main man, Joel Dash. I really owe that guy over at the conference. He really helped us out with basically getting to meet people and stuff like that. So we love Joel. We're going to have him on. I'm so excited for that one, Kenton. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Other than that, guys, go ahead, Kenton. You got something you want to add to that?
No, it's just I do. I say it's a great example of like the reason he's a fan of THORChain, the reason we're a fan of Joel. I like him because we're philosophically aligned, and it attracts us. We all right. It brings us all together, and so yeah, I love Joel. I love his takes, the way he views things, and really glad that he's not like butthurt about Dash not being added to THORChain 2 years ago type thing, and he's I get the impression he's just as excited now to do it as he was back then. So kudos to him for being
Good player.
yeah, not being emotional and not so looking forward to getting the Dash community into THORChain properly, what should have been done to begin with. So
Yep.
yeah,
Which
Chad's
that code chain
Go
is
ahead,
already
Chad.
open and waiting for review and merger at this point.
yeah, I think it's just there's so much going on, right? So basically, once Monero and Tau 318 is done, hopefully 319 Dash should come out, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
So yeah.
And I think this is a great reminder. Chad makes this point often. THORChain today is nothing like the THORChain of 2021 or even a year ago. It is completely different. We have like a whole new fresh blood or maybe old blood that stepped up. It is completely different, guys. So we do not hide or shy away from any previous mistakes we've ever made. We own them, we accept them, and we don't run from, we don't obfuscate the truth. But for those who are wondering, THORChain is a different animal. And the THORChain of today is nothing like the THORChain of yesterday. Hands up. So, and with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it there, you guys. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Saturday. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Later, guys.